Welcome everybody to the Cobwebs channel. Cobwebs is live tonight. My name is Daniel. I am your host as always, and it's going to be a really fun live show tonight. So thank you so much for popping in. I see we've already got 8 people and we just got going. So this is pretty awesome. Basically, if you're not familiar with them, there's an awesome YouTube channel and podcast called the Rad Pack. And they're basically an amalgamation of 3 different YouTube channels who all came together. That's Garrett from Born to Be Rad, Mel from My Killer Podcast, and Justin from The Dead Couch and the Justin David channel, the artist formerly known as Movie Watch Daily. But they all come together. They basically do a lot of cool shows where they talk about a lot of 80s and 90s movies. And they also do a lot of challenges, and they call these Rad 9 challenges. This is basically where they give a topic and then people give their top 9 in that topic. So their first one was the top 9 movies that made you. I made a video as a part of that challenge. That was a lot of fun. They did the top 9 movies that scared you. I also did that video. And that's probably like one of my favorite videos I've done. It was super fun just talking about all the stories of the movies that have scared me throughout my life and in my childhood. Then they did the top 9 movie crushes in your life. I actually didn't do that one, but now their latest one is your top 9 movies of 1994. And I knew I wanted to do that, but I was a little hesitant because, you know, just talking about the top 9 movies of 1994, I don't know if that super fits into the niche of my channel, but I thought, you know what, if I'm going to do it, I just want it to be relaxed. I want it to be fun. And I felt like the best way for me to do that was to do it just as a live stream, talk with you guys as I do it, and talk with my buddy Cris from Figure Out Films. So I invited Cris on, and we are going to be doing this show together, both giving our individual top 9 movies of 1994. So if you are in the house, please let me know in the chat. Go ahead and pop in there, say hi so we can say hi to you. And I'm going to bring Cris in here. Cris, how's it going, man?
Thank you, Daniel, for having me. I'm excited to be here for this. When you pitched this to me, I was like, oh, 1994, that's a little before my time, but I am excited to be here once again to do a live.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to go ahead and play around with I kind of like that now we're a little bit more close up. I don't know. I might switch back and forth. Let me know. Let me know what you think, people. We got 18 people in the house. Super, super cool. But Cris, why don't you tell me, how's it going over on your channel? Tell me what's going on.
It's been good. Thanks. So yeah, Figure Out Films. We've been figuring it out. It seems like I've been putting stuff out that people like. We just finished doing, I just finished doing a ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So lately we've been doing that, where I just watch a franchise, rank them, or a certain genre, and give like a top 10. Seems like that's what's been enjoyable. And honestly, it's been helping me dust off some of those movies that I buy and then just put on the shelf like most collectors do. You know, now I'm finally watching the movies. That's been good. And yeah, you know, a couple figure reveals here and there. So it seems like people really like those. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been great, man.
Yeah, I've been enjoying your channel too. It has been great. It's been a lot of fun. You just recently put out a ranking all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, just a little bit later. But I saw you had one comment that cracked me up. There was somebody that accused you of just making your ranking what it is as engagement farming. What do you have to say about that?
Anyone who's been following my channel since day one knows that usually my taste in movies are going to ruffle a few feathers here and there. And it's either one of two things. People really respect it and believe it, which it is true, or they think I'm just trying to get their goat or get under their skin and be different. And I want to be different so bad, but I can't lie about the movies I like.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's always like the craziest comment that I get is when somebody basically just accuses me of just doing like a pick on a list just to like get a reaction, because I really don't want to like piss people off. Like that's not really my goal with my channel.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, like
sorry, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, I don't know how, you know, people will watch a channel or watch a content creator about movies, and then they'll be like, oh, it's about, let's say, the best horror movies. And then they're like, oh, well, you know, the best horror movie has to be like Nightmare on Elm Street or, you know, Romero's Dawn of the Dead. You know, it's like the most obvious things. And it's like, I feel like then what's the point of watching if you know what the number one's going to be? And that's why lately on my videos, when I get to the number one, I usually lose a little energy, behind the curtain a little bit, because it's like, we should all know this is when it is and stuff. But sometimes when it's a list of movies that even I'm not sure when I'm compiling the list and I'm doing the homework on, some movies I need to catch up on, then it's exciting. Then it's like the number one unofficially for me is reserved for my personal pick. It's not maybe the best, but it's my favorite personal pick. 2 is technically was going to be the first. It's the letterbox effect. 5 stars for the movies you love, 4.5 stars for obviously great movies, that you won't put in your top 10 of all time, but so good.
I'm a little, okay, a peek behind the curtain. I'm a little concerned because I see we've got 21 people watching the live stream, but there are no comments in the chat. And like, that's okay if you guys are feeling a little quiet tonight, but it's unusual. So I'm worried that something is wrong. So if you can, just go ahead and type a comment into the chat so I can see it, just so I get confirmation that it's working. If you can't, maybe just go to my community post where I said, hey, I'm going live tonight. Maybe just comment there and let me know something's wrong. I've been looking around at how I set up the stream and I don't see anything different. It's just very odd that nobody would be saying anything.
Not to be accused of like just being on my phone the whole time, but I do see some comments.
You do?
Yeah, on my phone. If I go into the stream.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the stream on my phone. Oh wow, I've got a bunch showing up on my phone. Why isn't StreamYard showing me any of these comments? Oh, Chris just bopped out. Well, I see chat. I see chats in here. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for dropping in. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard and why it will not show me anything. If anybody has any ideas, on how to fix this, please let me know, because I have no idea. I'm doing a quick Google search. Yeah, Chris just messaged me that he just hopped off. I don't want to not be able to interact with you guys this whole time. Oh, there's Cris back. Hey, man.
Hey, yeah, that's weird. I don't even see it on my end.
Well, I'm looking at the chat on my phone, so I'm just going to go ahead and shout people out. I wish I could share the comments here. Yeah, see, this is the only thing that's popping up for me, and that's all it shows on the chat. I wonder if I don't know what's going to happen to the stream if I refresh the page, but I'm going to refresh the page real quick. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I'm back on. I still don't see anything in the chat. What's going on? Okay, I just tried one thing. Okay, we got it. We are good. I fixed it. That was super weird, but hello, everybody. Cris now dropped out again, so I'm sure he'll be popping back in. Sorry about that. That was pretty weird, but let me go ahead and go through the chat now. Hello, Ben. Thank you so much for dropping in. Always appreciate you, my man. Hello, Trudy. Nice to see you here, hanging out for a live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Marianne. Nice to see you here. Hello, Stephanie. Ontario, Canada. Right on. That is awesome. And we got Mel from My Killer Podcast. 94 is a great year of flicks and a hard one to rank 9 movies from. Thanks for taking the challenge. Yeah, I felt like, I felt okay with the top 8, but it's always that last place, right? That's just so hard to figure out. Okay, we got Cris back in here. Pop back in. Hey, man.
Hey, I saw some comment. There they are.
Super, super weird. All right, we are good. Yeah, Mel is one of the members of the Rad Pack, so she is one of the reasons that we're even doing this stream. So thank you so much to Mel for putting this challenge out. We got writer Cleve Bourbon. I like your last name, man. I'm a big fan. If you go back in time the same amount of years as Marty McFly did from 1985 to 1955, from now it would be 1994. That's right. That is crazy. You were right about that.
I'm glad someone here can do the math, honestly.
So if I was around in 1985, I would have already been born by 1955. That's just crazy. Coffeeville, Kansas. Hello, Kansas is not too far from me, but I never heard of Coffeeville. It sounds like a tasty place.
Real quick,
probably an emoji that's not showing up here.
Real quick, I think Trudy recently subscribed to the channel and dropped a couple comments on a recent video. If that's true, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Trudy. Let's see, before I started going to the Cobwebs channel, I thought I knew at least a bit about horror movies, but I thought much differently afterwards. Well, that's not my intention. I don't want to make anybody feel like they're not knowledgeable or anything. I just like having fun talking about obscure movies, but I think that's a compliment. So thank you. Hello, Adrian James. Thank you for popping in. There sure is. But I like the fun kind of horror. You know what I'm saying? Not the unfun, real kind of horror. Oh, we got people saying hello to each other in the chat. Yes, thank you so much. Abaddon Wolf. That is an awesome, awesome name. And your avatar looks like a Wendigo. Is that a Wendigo? Super, super cool. And we got you know this lady, don't you, Cris?
Oh, if it isn't my darling wife, Charlotte Blair.
Wow. Cris just got married, by the way, last month. So congratulations once again to Cris, and my condolences to Charlotte Blair. No, she's a very lucky lady.
She's got to be in this because she helped watch some of these movies that are on my top 9
okay
list.
I've got one movie that I requested you to watch. Did you watch it?
I did, and Charlotte did too.
Oh wow! I don't think I would show my wife that movie.
Well, Charlie,
no,
she can suck up a lot with me.
I kind of want to try to show that movie to Stephanie now. I'm thinking like, would she be interested in it? I don't know. We'll get to that movie. That's a good tease right there. Just another horror fan.
Bruh.
That kind of sounds like how Christian from Planet CHH pronounced it. He's like horror. That's kind of how I read that.
That face he makes on his thumbnails where he's just like this in the corner, where he's like this.
Yeah, he sent me a very nice message the other day, by the way.
Good.
It was very nice. He's a fine fellow. Hey Mel, you found me. It didn't take you long. We got Vinny Elliott. Been like, oh, thank you so much. 2 months ago, right on. I appreciate that. She did subscribe to Figure Out Films. That is awesome. By the way, I think I decided I like this method better. Like there's this. Then there's this, but the problem with this is like I look like a giant. Like I'm the giant and you're Jack, the giant slayer, and I don't want to be slayed. So I think I'm gonna keep it there. I got a list of horror films I've never seen, a bucket list, I suppose, thanks to your channel. I have a list like that too. Like I was just thinking today about how like there's so many movies I want to watch for upcoming list videos I want to make. There's so many videos I've gotten on physical media that I want to watch. Then there's also like several new releases that I want to catch. Like there's so many movies to watch. And so little time. It's very scary. Writer Cleve Bourbon congratulates you on the marriage.
Thank you. I feel good.
As does Ben. Yes, she is. All right. So thank you all for popping in. If you haven't said hi in the chat yet, I would really appreciate it. I would love to be able to say hello to you. If you have any questions for us as we go, certainly feel free to ask. But let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's get into our Rad 9. So Cris, let me ask you, how difficult did you find it to choose 9 movies for this? Like did it fall into place easily where you're like, yeah, you know what, these are definitely the movies, or was it a tough choice?
It was at first it was kind of like, 1994 just feels like a weird year to like find like some of my favorite movies. And so I did have to go on the Letterboxd list. I had to go on IMDb, had to, Google search everything. And once I kind of started looking at lists, I was like, oh, yeah, I know quite a few movies from this year without realizing it. And I was happy to see that. Oh, yeah, Forrest Gump 100% will not be on this list. So that's going to make it a lot easier for me, too. But yeah, it is a lot more like deep cut films for me that made this list, which actually made me really excited because it's like this is like a open season kind of list for me. There's not like a clear cut. Like by halfway through the video, the live, I'm probably going to change a little bit the flow of my list. But yeah, I ended up actually getting more than 9, and I was like afraid I would even get to 9.
Well, we can definitely shout out some honorable mentions because I had some movies that were close to making my 9, but also I'll say my number 9 could have been different if I had certain movies on physical media, because I decided, like, and you don't have to do this, I don't care, but I decided to just pick movies that I have on physical media, so I could actually show it on the stream. I thought that just made sense, so because I'm not editing like posters or trailer clips in there or anything like that. So if I had a couple other movies, it's possible they could have been 9. So that could have changed it. But most of the, like all the top ones I already had, so that it didn't. I think that would have only like changed my number 9.
Gotcha.
Ben said 1994, the year of Jim Carrey. Yes, it is. And I actually brought some 1994 fun facts so we can set the stage for 1994. So 1994, the president of the United States was Bill Clinton. Everybody probably knows that one. The Super Bowl was won by the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? Texas pride to those Texans out there. Major League Baseball went on strike. How about that? Here's a one that I think you'll enjoy, Chris. The first PlayStation console was invented in 1994.
Yes, sir. I had that too. I mean, I had it years after that, of course, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How old were you in 1994?
I wasn't even a thought, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I was like not even a spawn.
Yeah, you all are getting perspective on the films of 1994 from one person who was not alive then and another person who was 1 year old. So we have a fresh perspective on 1984, but not an experienced perspective by any means. The number 1 film of the year was The Lion King, which surprised me actually. I thought it was Forrest Gump, but Forrest Gump was the number 2 film. Number 1 was The Lion King.
Oh, I would be surprised if a Disney movie usually isn't like one of the, highest grossing or most popular movies at a box office of a year.
Yeah, I read that of the top 5 movies of the year, 3 of them were family films. And that's actually, I think that was a little less common in this time. Like nowadays, all the biggest movies are family films.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like if you look at the top movies of like any year in the 80s, I mean, you're going to see like a lot more R-rated stuff than you would see now. And you're not going to see as many family films. But I think they were The Lion King, The Santa Claus. There was one other. I can't remember what the other family movie was. But yeah, it was a big year for family films. The number 1 show of the year was Seinfeld.
Of course. It still is, isn't it? I still see signs for it broadcast for the CW in the city.
It's still, yeah, that's the thing about like the old shows. They're still popular. And like, there are no new comedy hit shows, are there? I don't think so. Like people are still watching Seinfeld, The Office, Friends, only old shows. It's very interesting.
I love and hate Seinfeld because it's such an easy show to watch all the time. And like, if I ever want to watch another show, it just will never be as good as something so simple like Seinfeld, something like early 2000s, late, 90s comedies, sitcoms. Those are just so good. They're just, even The Office, I can't binge that like I could binge like Seinfeld.
Yeah. I love Seinfeld. The show that is on in our house the most is Friends, and that's because of Stephanie. It's because of my wife. That's like the most common show to have on. But if it were up to me, it would probably be Seinfeld. But Friends is still fine. I don't have a problem with Friends. The number 1 song of the year was "I Saw the Sign" by the Ace of Base. Isn't that song from Full House? Maybe not from Full House, but don't they sing that a lot?
I never really watched Full House.
I mean, I'm sorry to everybody, but I hate Full House. I never saw it before my wife. She introduced it to me, and I hate it a lot. But I don't hate it near as much as I hate the sequel series Fuller House, which is truly an abomination against humanity.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
We got Zombie Ate My Arm in the chat. I think Stephanie did sing it on the show. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
I love that Meat Wad profile. I know
that song from, but it's the number 1 song of 1994, so it was a big hit. Here's my last. I'm almost done. My last 1994 fun fact, and this is my favorite one. I thought this was so interesting. I had no idea. The first ever online purchase was made in 1994, and do you know what it was a purchase for?
It has to be a VHS copy of The Lion King.
No, it is a Pizza Hut pizza.
Hell yeah.
The owner of Pizza Hut started up a website, and the first ever online sale was for a pizza.
Damn. It's kind of sad to hear that though, because like, why would you want to order a Pizza Hut pizza in the 90s when you could just go to the buffet? Those really cool restaurants they had.
Well, just think, like they didn't even know in 1994 that one day I would be dropping hundreds of dollars on Vinegar Syndrome.
Little did they know.
Oh, Trudy's got a theory on what the purchase was. Adult films is what I call them on this channel to avoid YouTube thinking I have inappropriate content on my channel.
From the Melusine catalog for Vinegar Syndrome.
Exactly. Let's see. We've got quite a bit of chats I just want to catch up on real quick. You guys better have Brain Scan on here. My hot take is I do not like Brain Scan. I saw it for the first time this year. And granted, I watched it on Tubi, so it wasn't like a great viewing experience. You know, it was full of commercials, but I did not dig that movie. Have you seen Brain Scan?
No, I've thought to, and some people have even said, like, Chris, you gotta watch it. You'd love it. That's a you movie. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Has Edward Furlong, I think, too.
He's the lead.
I think is wild. But yeah, just never gotten around to it. If it's on Tubi, I'll probably check it out. My God, Tubi. I've been a couple of the movies on this list I watched on Tubi, and man, that streaming service has really jumped its quality of video streaming. Like, yeah, you got to deal with the commercials, but like those scans of the streams are incredible. They're so good.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that. I just noticed about Tubi that their ads, there's just a lot more ads now. We've got our buddy Seth. He goes by Elric on here, but we know that's our buddy Seth. Hello, Seth. Wonder if anyone will mention Three Ninjas. I've never seen Three Ninjas, and it's not very available right now. Like, I think it's not really on physical media. Like, I hear people calling for a Three Ninjas box set all the time. I don't know if it's streaming, but I've never seen it. Have you seen Three Ninjas?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Okay, it's a kids ninja movie.
Yeah, I see a lot of people clamoring and applauding Blank Check.
This year.
And I've never felt the need to ever watch that movie.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah,
it looks like a movie where someone was like, "Hey, Home Alone's a hit. Let's do our Home Alone."
Yeah,
I don't know. That's the
and I'm not even a big Home Alone fan, to be honest.
I am a big Home Alone fan. If this was on my Rad 9 of 1990, Home Alone would be on the list, undoubtedly. Writer Cleve, I'm just gonna call him Bourbon, or maybe Cleve. I'm gonna go Cleve Bourbon. I don't know. Go Cowboys. Yeah, I don't really have a big opinion on that. I'm not really a sports guy. I'm sure that shocks everyone. I look at it,
but you do like sports movies.
Sometimes I'm not like a sports movie aficionado, but sometimes I can get into seeing Kevin Costner wield a baseball bat.
There it is. Yeah,
I'm down for it. Or Kevin Costner draft.
Draft.
Actually,
go ahead.
If someone were to ask me my favorite Kevin Costner sports movie, I might say Tin Cup, which I think is a hot take.
It's such an iconic poster. I remember seeing that at Family Video all the time. And Draft Day with Kevin Costner makes zero sense, like logically, but my God, that movie is like the best thing to watch.
Tin Cup, baby.
And Rene Russo.
I think I heard somebody else say this, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I think somebody called Tin Cup Top Gun, but with golf. And like, that's basically what it is. Like, Kevin Costner is Maverick. And it's fun. Last time I watched this was when I had COVID. I'd seen it years before, but I had COVID and I was like, you know what? We're watching Tin Cup.
Dang.
On Warner Archive Blu-ray.
Double that with the new Western he put out.
Oh, Horizon part one of one, because I don't think it's gonna get up.
That and Waterworld will go crazy together.
Oh my God. The Horizon part one discourse was the most annoying thing I've ever seen. It was worse than Acolyte discourse. Like all these people like, you don't support cinema if you don't go see Horizon part one right now. And I'm like, dude, it is a setup for a quadrilogy that's probably not even going to happen. I'm not going to waste my 3 hours right now.
He's probably made so much money from those Yellowstone shows, which I don't even know how they're so popular, but there's like a 5th season and they're all spin-off shows. I'm sure he's making plenty of money he could just finance those movies.
He did finance a bunch of them. He mortgaged his house for them.
Chump change.
Wild. Let's see. I was so young in 1994. My favorite films are picked by my inner child and nostalgia. I've got some nostalgia in here.
That's the way to do it.
Ton. I only have one nostalgia pick. Yeah, the rest of them I saw later. I didn't have a ton of childhood favorites from 1994. Okay, let's tell you what. I'm going to catch up with the chat in just a bit, but let's go ahead and let's hit our 9. So, Chris, what is your number 9?
Number 9. So I made it like to be more serious at first and then, be more real at the end. But number 9 is actually a movie I really like. It's a documentary. It's Hoop Dreams.
Okay.
I didn't see many people talk about this, but I thought this is like one of those well-known documentary movies. It takes place in Chicago in 1994. It follows two basketball high school prospects who are being considered, because in Chicago has a rich history with basketball. Even where I grew up outside the city, basketball is still huge. And so it's following like these two kids. Obviously, Michael Jordan's popular during this time too. So these are the next big bright stars to come out of Chicago and possibly go to the NBA. And it follows their journey and what it's like growing up in the inner city of Chicago and having like this pressure. And it follows their lives from their freshman year, well, actually their 8th grade year to their freshman year, all the way until they're in college. And it follows even like their outside of school life. It's pretty sad and tragic in some aspects. It's a long documentary. It's 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. But it is a really good documentary. I've seen it a couple times. I don't know, just being in close proximity to where, it took place and, knowing those stories of people who should have gone further, but end up not being able to for whatever reason, makes me really enjoy that documentary a lot.
Okay. Right on. I've heard of it. I've heard it's great, but it's a documentary on basketball. I haven't felt a lot of motivation, but I've heard it's great. It's on Criterion Blu-ray. I can't believe you don't have it, man. It's like you don't support physical media.
Yeah, I'm trying to limit my Criterions to about 2 or 3 a year, because it's like they just sit on the shelf.
I haven't bought anything in the Criterion sale yet, but I will. I believe it's this coming Tuesday. Risky Business comes out on 4K. And I will go to Barnes & Noble and I will buy Risky Business.
If they have this, because you didn't want to order it to pre-order it?
I have a Barnes & Noble with a great Criterion selection.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
I'm just going to take the opportunity to go to a physical store, buy something in person. I don't get that opportunity with boutique label stuff very often. So I decided I'm just going to go to the store. I'm doing it Ken mid-level media style.
There you go.
Yeah.
I did have the close number 9 though. This, since we were talking about nostalgia picks, you might remember this. And the reason I bring it up is because long ago on my channel, we recorded ourselves going to our college, our alma mater, to go to the family video there.
Yeah,
and
we did.
I let the internet know a secret that I hope my parents never got to watch and find out about, where I would snag movies that were not adult films, but like close enough where it had the black label, must be 18 to rent. And strolling through IMDb, I got to like number 500 or something I went through it. There's a movie called Married People Single Sex that came out.
I never heard of it.
No, it's like one of those like softcore porn or adult films.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was like a sex lies and videotapes kind of a thing, but
no. I remember renting this movie and I remember the cover vividly. It lives rent free. And I saw it came out in 1994 and I was like, oh, I was so meant to do this list. I had to mention this movie. It was a movie I would repeatedly, because I could never finish it during my rental time. So I would rent it and then put it in between like Alien 3 and The Godfather. And like, my mom wouldn't know. And then I'd try to like watch and fast forward. And it was worthless. It was a waste of a rental. And I feel bad my mom paid for that. And it wasn't even worth it for me.
That's wild. You got some Hoop Dream support in the chat, which I'm going to get to. There's a couple of people I haven't said hi to yet. I want to say hi to. Hey, Nathan, our buddy Nathan Jones.
Who's that?
Who's back on the tube. He took a long hiatus from his channel, but he just posted a new video, so y'all can check that out. We got Chase from AVA Pop Culture. What is up, my man? Thank you so much for dropping in. And then I'm going to scroll on down to the Hoop Dreams support. We got Trudy. She says Hoop Dreams was awesome. Great pick. Nathan's got a lot of support for that as well. Does Hoop Dreams have Kevin Bacon? Kevin Bacon is like secretly in so many movies, so it wouldn't even surprise me.
You probably knew someone on set.
They're on the court and he just shows up. Hey guys, let's play a little basketball. Is that what Kevin Bacon sounds like? Let's see. Have you seen Maxine yet?
No, I still haven't.
Kevin Bacon and Maxine. Well, my name is Kevin Bacon. And it kind of sounds like that. He's like, I'll sit Maxine.
Man, I'm so discouraged after you and Matt Bledsoe's review on it. I did like that video where you talked about that in Long Legs. I had to stop the video though before you got to Long Legs for spoilers. I feel like I can't go on Twitter or anything on TikTok without saying something about Long Legs, and I have to like end my screen time.
I don't think Long Legs is like a big spoiler movie. Really? Like, I don't know if there's anything somebody could tell you that'll like ruin it for you. It's not really that kind of a movie. It's not like, oh, Thanos snaps and everyone dies. It doesn't have that moment,
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Cult of J. Hello. I like the part where Bugs Bunny showed up. So Bugs Bunny is in Hoop Dreams.
Probably them watching it, or are they talking
Okay.
about Space Jam? I think
Okay, so Bugs Bunny's in it. Kevin Bacon, we're not so sure. Ben has heard great things about Hoop Dreams. Zombies Ate My Arm. I think he knows about this movie. A late night Cinemax in the 90s flick. Why hasn't Vinegar Syndrome put that out?
Yeah, it's, you know, if they did, I would probably buy it. And it's sequel part 2. It's literally called Married People Single Sex Part 2. And
Yeah.
it's, I think, less advanced as the first one even was.
Okay. We got Jackie in here. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for dropping in. And we've got Kenny Steps Into Movies, or as Chris and I like to call him, Ken Walker, Texas Ranger.
There he is.
Because his full name is Ken Walker. I don't know if I should announce that, but Ken Walker, Texas Ranger. Thank you so much for dropping in, man. He has got a channel. Let's see. What has he done recently? He did a video recently on like mediocre movies that should be remade instead of remaking classics. That's an interesting one. Yeah, he's doing some interesting stuff over there. So go check out Kenny Steps Into Movies. Let's hit my number 9. Like I said, it could have been a couple other movies, but I want to stick with on physical media. A movie that like I remember really liking, and I gave a really high I gave it a high rating on Letterboxd. I don't remember it super well now, but it's Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which I have on this hideous Nightmare on Elm Street box set that we all have and disdain. But okay, so New Nightmare, you know, it's an interesting movie for sure. It's the 7th Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And it's where Wes Craven decided to be very meta before he was in Scream, and even more meta than he was in Scream, where he plays himself, and Heather Langenkamp plays herself, and Robert Englund plays himself, and it's all about them as the makers of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But then Wes Craven finds out that there is an actual dream demon that's been held back by these movies, but now he's let loose and he's taken the form of Freddy Krueger. So it's very interesting. It brings Freddy back to a scary place, and I do think Freddy is pretty scary in this movie. And I think Heather Langenkamp is fantastic in it. I mean, one, her performance is so good. She really just grew as an actress over time. And also she's like insanely gorgeous in it. Like Heather Langenkamp aged like wine. And like, you know, in the first one, I think she was in like her mid-20s, but you know, she's playing a teenager, but she looks like a kid. Very attractive in Nightmare 3, but like New Nightmare is another level of Heather Langenkamp. So I snuck in a Rad 9 movie crushes there after all. But I do like New Nightmare. I haven't seen it in years. I think I've seen it 2 or 3 times, but it's been a long time. So I don't remember it super well. I remember there's a really good kill in the hospital of like the nanny. And I remember the kid's really creepy. But number 9, New Nightmare, that's mine. But Chris, you ranked this very low on your Nightmare on Elm Street ranking. What's the deal with that?
I did. It felt like a movie that, like I said in the review, it feels like pre-Scream, and I felt like he was testing the waters of this meta, and I think Scream just does it better. And yeah, it is a lot more meta. I just don't know. It's, you know, I even made a joke about it on my video where it's like it's way too long at 2 hours, but 2 hours really isn't that long when you consider movies. But it's
2 hours long.
Yeah, it's just about 2 hours.
That is surprising. I didn't even realize that. I guess that meant it didn't feel long to me. At least not years ago.
Yeah, but to me it did, and I get it. It's a lot of setup. And Freddy is scary. I'm not crazy about his look. I mean, yeah, he's a lot scarier, and I do like that. But it feels like it's so meta to the point where I can almost hear Wes Craven whispering in my ears, like his disdain for everything after the Dream Warriors, and like everything that's the problem with franchise horror slashers. And I really do think he doesn't love Freddy. He loves Nancy, the character. I really do. Like, she is the main character in the first movie. He has such a good eye of like portraying her in that first movie and even in the third movie so well that it feels like he cares about the character of Nancy so much. And, you know, I like Nancy, but she's not my favorite protagonist in that franchise. She might not even be in my top 3, but so
is
that
yours,
might be
Kirsten or Alice?
I like Alice now. I used to be Kirsten. I
love
like
Alice. Oh, yours is probably
Jesse.
Yeah,
Alice.
Jesse. That makes sense.
Yeah. Jesse, Alice, and then Patricia Arquette. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I was really expecting a lot because I hadn't seen it in a long time. So, and I just kind of was like, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I remember really liking it. I think Nancy is my favorite final girl. I think so. So I do love Nancy, but I do love Alice too. Alice is my easy second favorite protagonist of the franchise.
Here's a weird thing real quick though. I noticed
Yep.
that in Freddy's Dead, Johnny Depp is in it. And he's doing like a like an infomercial about like drugs, but he's not in New Nightmare, the movie that came after. And I kind of wonder
I think
why.
there was a big difference in Johnny Depp's fame just between those two movies. Like
Gotcha.
he, exploding in the early 90s. Freddy's Dead, was it 89 or was it early 90s?
I think it was late 80s.
Okay.
Because he mentions the Power Glove, and that was from Nintendo in the late 80s, I'm pretty sure. Or it might have been
91.
91. Okay.
I just Googled it. It was 91. Okay. But yeah, I mean, even from 91 to 94, Johnny Depp exploded pretty fast. So it wouldn't surprise me. But he was still, he was, famous in 1991 for sure. We got a lot of support for New Nightmare though. Let's see. We've got, there it is. Yeah, our buddy Seth, New Nightmare rocks. Take that, Cris.
Famously hates.
Lucas says, Cris, I think you sent me an offer for that Marlene Dietrich set on eBay the other day.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Was it the Indicator one or the Criterion one?
The Indicator one.
Good choice.
And accept that. I'm giving you a deal. I have too much stuff. I'm moving. So I'm trying to make some space for some new stuff. So,
dude, your hustle and grind for physical media deals never stops. Not even on my live streams.
That's weird. I'm losing subscribers after I've just talked about New Nightmare. That's weird.
Oh no!
I'm kidding.
Coulter J says there's a Coffin Joe movie that reminded me a lot of a Nightmare movie. I think it was called Deranged Mind. Interesting. Well, I own it because I got all the Coffin Joe movies back there, so I'm gonna have to check it out. I've still only seen the first two. I need to watch more of those.
That's pretty.
Zombies Amarum says New Nightmare is his number one Elm Street movie. That is awesome. I've heard a lot of people say that. It's a popular opinion. Also, Chase from AVA Pop Culture says it's probably his favorite. That's surprising to me. Very interesting, man. Very interesting. Hello, Eli. Thank you so much for dropping in. I know you're a Rad Pack fan. I see you around the Rad Pack live chats. Gets better every time I see it. I need to watch it again. Yeah, like I said, it's been years.
You need to watch it so then you can go, Cris was wrong. His list is invalidated now.
Yeah, at first I didn't realize you didn't include the remake. So I was like trying to do the numbers in my head. Like, wait, is he putting the remake over that? But you didn't include the remake, did you?
I did include the remake. The remake is
you
number
put
5.
The remake over New Nightmare? Dude.
Rewatch that remake. It's actually
I can't talk. I've never seen the remake.
Oh,
it's the only Nightmare on Elm Street movie I haven't seen.
It's barely above it, but when I watched that remake, I was like, whoa, which I'm mad at. When I started watching it, it was on Netflix, and then I paused to watch the other movies first, and then it was gone off of Netflix. So I had to rent it on Amazon Prime. So physical media matters, everyone, even for remakes like that have infamous followers.
Very, very interesting. We got the Happy Optimist in the house. We got Mike Barrett in the house. I'm not sure if I said hi to you yet, Mike. But hello. Thank you so much for dropping in the chat. Gets better every time I see it. Very, very cool. I really like Freddy's look in that movie. I've heard some people say they don't. I like the look of the glove. I like the trench coat. I think he looks like cool. And I think they needed to change up his look because that movie really makes a point that he had become such a pop culture icon, like he wasn't a horror character. It would be like, if you were seeing Art the Clown on what are talk shows now, Jimmy Fallon or something. Like, I think Art the Clown still has a power where when I see him, he makes me uncomfortable. Like, he's just scary looking. But I think Freddy had reached a point where he's on like the equivalent of Jimmy Fallon. So I think they need to change up the look, and I like the look. I thought it was creepy. We got the Happy Optimist around here. Hey, hello. Thank you so much for dropping in. I recognize you. Questions for Cris. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. 4 favorite films.
Rugrats in Paris. Alien Resurrection. The Aristocats. And Satata Tango. I've never seen that movie. I'm sorry.
No, okay, let's see. Let me see if I could say. I know your favorite movie is Alien.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Alien Resurrection.
No.
I'm gonna say Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is in your top 4. What else would you have in there? I'm not sure. Those are the only two I got.
You got the first two. I probably
Okay.
put Return of the Jedi probably
Oh,
in
okay,
there.
that makes sense.
Any Star Wars movie, honestly, any Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm. The Acolyte, one of your 4 favorite films. I got you.
I'm still avoiding spoilers for that show, even though I don't really have much intentions to watch it. I just don't want it ruined for me. Number 4, I'll throw in 1990s TMNT.
Oh, wow. See, Garrett from Born to be Rad would be so proud of you. I don't know if he's in the chat yet, but that's one of his top favorite movies. He talks about it all the time.
Easiest rewatchable movie ever.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, Chris, what's your number 8?
Number 8. Okay, let's see. I don't think I own this one on physical media either. Yeah. So this one I watched a couple years ago and I knew it'd be worthy to watch it for something like this. For me, it's Clerks. Have you seen Clerks?
Of course I've seen Clerks.
Oh, you have? Okay.
But I've never seen Clerks 2.
Oh, I haven't.
Or
I don't
3?
have any intention of seeing any other Clerks. I'll just watch that first one.
Okay.
But yeah, I have at number 8 Clerks, and I thought it would be just like one of those like stoner movies, you know, from like the 90s that whatever wasn't kind of my thing. But it ended up being more than that. You know, it's kind of like a slack off movie more than a stoner movie, you know, just trying to be in a 20 something year old, trying to figure out what to do, working a dead end job. But I love most about it is that it's the filmmaking of it, like just being all in one place, being, you know, someone young without much responsibility, trying to get more responsibility at the same time while looking cool. I kind of like that approach of that. And I don't know. I like, even though it's in black and white, you know, the memes of, you know, a movie that doesn't have to be is, you know, again, it goes to the aesthetic of the filmmaking. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I don't know. Just the aesthetic of it is really enjoyable. It's imprinted in my mind, obviously. I remember thinking that the director was the main character, but it's not. It's actually a different actor. And I don't know why I always thought that. But yeah, I just like the characters, the interactions. It just feels like more like into the life of like somebody I would know versus like just being a movie. I don't know. I can't really describe it like that other than that, but it's a good movie. It's a movie I don't have to rewatch often to remember much about it, especially when they're playing like the hockey and like they're just, you know, like thinking about the shop and like they're slacking up. And I'm like, oh, like I probably did something equivalent like that in my life when I worked at the coffee shop. You know, it's like I can relate to it in some way. So I have Clerks at 8.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad somebody acknowledged it because it's a big classic of like film fans for sure of the 90s, and it's one of the quintessential movies of a 90s indies, you know, because like the indie film got big in the 90s, and Clerks is one of the, like Clerks and Reservoir Dogs, you know, 2 of the top movies that really pushed that forward. I saw Clerks. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. It didn't, I mean, I saw it, you know, a little later in life. So I kind of think that's a movie that people should see when they're like, you know, probably like 18, 19. I saw it years later. And I thought it was okay. I thought it was totally fine, but it didn't make like an impact on me. And I've only seen it the one time.
That's like the only movie I think I've seen from Kevin. I think the director. I haven't seen like Mallrats or Chasing Amy. I know you'd recommended Chasing Amy. I just haven't seen that. Or Silent J
is my favorite Kevin Smith. I really like that movie.
Or like what is it? The Silent J about the characters from that show or from that movie. I haven't seen that.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
I've never seen the movie Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but I have seen the Good Will Hunting scene, and I love that scene. It's so great because I'm a huge Good Will Hunting fan.
Yeah.
So that was
wait, Kevin Smith. He did Dogma. I've seen Dogma.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of Kevin Smith. Like I've seen Clerks, Chasing Amy, Tusk, my least favorite movie of all time.
We saw Tusk. Yeah, we've seen Tusk.
I can't think if I've seen anything else.
So 3.
I haven't seen a lot of Kevin Smith.
But yeah, I like his style, especially in like those earlier movies.
Ben says, love Clerks. Used to have that on VHS. Probably seen it 10 to 15 times. Right on. Zombies Amarm thinks I need to give Clerks 2 and 3 a chance. I thought there was a 3 like that recently came out, I think.
Oh, it's like the new Bill and Ted thing where they pull a third one out. So
I do love that third Bill and Ted though. I support that movie. I think it's really good. Asking if I've seen Long Legs. Yes, I have. I have a review for it on the channel, so you can check it out. Look, the Rugrats in Paris goes hard though, low key.
I have the VHS, orange clamshell and all.
Just another horror fan. Have you seen Dylan's New Nightmare? No, I saw the trailer for it, and I saw Dude Who Loves Movies review for it, and it sounds interesting, but I kind of forgot about it, so I should look it up. That's basically like a fan film, a fan Nightmare on Elm Street film that's starring, I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays the kid in New Nightmare, and he's like reprising that character now as an adult, and they I don't know. Freddy looked really good in the trailer. Like it looks like they got like a really good Robert Englund impersonator and Robert Englund looking makeup, and it looked pretty cool. Elric says going to be a True Lies call out. Oh, we'll get there. Well, maybe we'll get there. That's all I'm saying. Maybe.
Jamie Lee Curtis supremacy. I've seen that scene, but not the movie.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, and I think that's a really cool thing, Chase, for sure. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff in the chat here. Dogma is my favorite of Smith's. Interesting. Yeah, I never seen Dogma. We got Mallrat support from Marianne.
Need to check that out then.
Man, the Crow. Is the Crow in your list, Chris?
I haven't even seen The Crow.
Okay, I saw The Crow once years ago, and it was kind of a Clerks situation where I was like, that was fine, and that was it. So, and I've seen the trailer for the new Crow, and I was like, I don't know, it looks like John Wick with eyeliner, basically.
I think I had asked you about The Crow, and I think I had been wanting to watch it because that new one was coming out, and I remember you telling me about it, and then I think after you described it to me, I was like, yeah, I probably don't need to check it out then right away.
I don't remember when I described it to you. I don't remember it super well.
The
Crow's not going to be on here. I apologize. Happy. Okay, so my number 8 is Cemetery Man. This is the movie that I was referring to that I told Chris to watch before this. Chris, let me just ask you, is this coming up on your list later?
Dude, it's so farther down my list. I love this movie.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
I could be off the high of watching it like before the stream had started, but oh man, that was a good ass time.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, such a weird movie. Like, so strange.
It's actually called Della Morte Dell'Amore, actually.
Thank you for saying it right, because I always hear people say Della Morte Dell'Amore, and I'm like, they say it multiple times in the movie. It's Dell'Amore. They say Dell'Amore every single time, but everyone always says Della Morte Dell'Amore. But no, Dell'Amore. Trudy's mad at me that it's only at number 8. I'm sorry. I've got some heavy hitters here, like for sure. But yeah, I really do like this movie. It's an Italian horror film from 1994. Directed by, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his first name. Is it Michel Soavi or Michel Soavi?
I kind of thought it was Michel.
Okay.
Michel.
I think Frank from Frank's Media Reviews said Michele. And Frank is Hispanic, which is not Italian, but I feel like he would probably know a little better than me, but you're Hispanic too.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought Michel, but like with like an emphasis.
Michel Soavi. Okay. I really do like him. I like him a lot. He's one of my favorite Italian horror filmmakers. And yeah, this just a completely bizarre character study, romance, super sexy movie, but super macabre. Chris, let me hear your thoughts on Cemetery Man.
When I was watching it, I was like, you know how like like Sigma dudes in like a couple years ago was like Taxi Driver, that's literally me. Joker, that's literally me.
Now they're like Ryan Gosling, that's literally me.
Yeah, or Ryan Gosling. Why are you saying Rupert Everett in Cemetery Man? That's literally me. Like, my God, he is so crazy good in this movie. I remember watching with Charlie, and Charlie was like, I love that actor. And I was like, he looks familiar. And she was telling me where he's from and stuff like that. I described it to her as this movie feels like a love letter to those 80s, Italian horror movies. And it came out years later. And I'm so glad it did, because I just really enjoyed this movie a lot. I wish I watched it with you because I could imagine us laughing and go like, I remember going like, holy shit, like at some scenes. I just, it's a fever dream movie,
Yeah. All the stuff with his assistant and the teenage girl and her decapitated head. Excuse me, severed head. Somebody once in the comments got mad at me that I said decapitated head. Severed head. Right. Is so weird. It's so bizarre.
I love it. His assistant's such a sweetheart. I was gonna say I should have changed my name to the assistant's name. His name is not Nazi, I think.
Yeah.
in the
Isn't that
movie.
the only thing he ever says too? He's kind of like
He's like,
Groot.
nice,
The only
nice.
thing he says is Groot.
Yeah. Should
Yeah.
have called me that the whole live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, we got more support for Cemetery Man. It's on a Bad and Wolf's list. Carnival, is that a movie called Carnival, or is it just my opinion on carnivals? My opinion on carnivals in general is high. Love a good carnival. Actually, the fair, my county fair is happening right now. We're probably going to go tomorrow night, so I'm excited.
There's a part in Cemetery Man where he's like, I was in love once, now I'll never be in love again. And then another girl shows up, and then he loves her, and then
But it's the same girl, basically.
I'm through with love for sure now.
That woman is like not human. Like she can't be human, you know, like she is so
when she charges him for, her roommate charges him for the lovemaking he had, she said she loved me. That's 150.
And he literally burns the house down. That's the thing, like he's our main character, but he's like this like psychopath. But I don't know, like I think you could read this movie as it's about a man going insane, but I don't even think it's that. I think it's a man caught in like a bizarre dimension that's not our dimension, you know? Like
yeah,
he's like, I don't know what this world is, but it's not Earth.
I don't need much of this explained to me logically. I was all about it. It was just so good. This director, though, this name looks very familiar. I'm sure most of his stuff is on Severin's catalog, but what else has he done that I should be checking out? Because after seeing this, I was like, I know he has other good works that I need to be checking out, and I don't know which.
Okay, I just bought another one of his movies, so I want to take the opportunity to grab it. But he also did The Church, which I've seen a couple times. I really like this movie. The first time I saw it, I actually thought it was kind of boring. But then I watched it again fairly recently and kind of fell in love with it. This movie actually started production as Demons 3. And Lamberto Bava was going to make it, but he dropped out and it kind of became not Demons 3 anymore. And it's actually like, if you go into this expecting it to be anything like Demons, it's not, but it's kind of slow, not boring, but kind of slow. Just really atmospheric, kind of gothic, kind of very satanic, occulty horror movie. I think it's really cool.
Nice.
And he made Stage Fright, which is Zombies Ate My Arm just said that. Yeah, Stage Fright is a great. So people argue of whether it's a giallo or it's a slasher. I kind of think it's more of a slasher. It feels just like a normal slasher movie to me. And like the only thing that's really giallo about it is the fact that it's Italian, but some people call it giallo and that's fine. But like, have you ever seen the pictures from the slasher movie where it's got like an owl headed killer with like this big owl mask?
Yeah.
That's
him?
Stage Fright.
Really good. Okay. It's Sounds like something we'll need to check out next week.
Yeah, and Severin also, along with Cemetery Man and The Church, they kind of released these as like a little series. They also released his film The Sect, which I've not seen, but I really want to see it because it's about some kind of like satanic ritual or something. It sounds cool. I want to watch it.
Yeah, no, it was a great movie. I was thoroughly impressed with it, and that ending. When they switch, I don't know if I should even talk about the ending or anything, but I just was like, what the hell?
Yeah, just suffice to say the ending is so bizarre. Yeah.
Love it.
Gary Richardson. Yeah. It's just for a recap, it's my number 7. Yeah, it's my number 7 of 1994. No. Yeah. Oh, I almost counted Tin Cup. That's just sitting over there. No, it's my number 8, and it's yet to appear on Chris's list. So Clifford. Oh, that movie with Martin Short. I've never seen Clifford. I'm sorry, Hayden. But that's our buddy Hayden. Hello, Hayden. Good to see you in here. Cemetery Man is like 66th on my 94 rankings list. Do need to see it again. Been a long time. Well, at least it's kind of a satanic number, so that's fun. Watch it with some friends. Have a drink. Get some frozen pizza on a weekend. Or watch it with a lady friend if you're into that, and you guys can have a sexy time. There you go. It really had the movie really had me contemplating whether I needed the surgery or not myself. Oh my god, the surgery part is so freaking scary to me when he's like, "Yeah, just do it." I'm just like, "Yeah." What? Charlie was right there. What is happening? Charlie was just like this, and I just was like, "Should I? Maybe, perchance." Well, thank goodness that didn't take. I like how then she shows up. Oh yeah, guess what happened?
we can still be friends. He gets friend zoned in this movie. Oh my God. 1994. Guys were still getting friend zoned in 1994.
That's actually a similar thing happens in this silent movie called The Unknown, which I have in this Freaks box set from Criterion.
Oh, okay.
But it's not, it's his arms instead of his
still an
lower
arm.
appendage. But something, it's a very similar plot development as in that movie.
Yeah.
Good time. Lucas, you don't have to worry because it was not on sale, which I was annoyed about because I wanted to buy The Church and The Sect, but they didn't put either of those on sale. They didn't put Cemetery Man on sale. So I just bought The Church on Amazon because it was fairly cheap anyway, and The Sect I haven't gotten yet. But
yeah, that's the
thing that's annoying about the Severance sale. Like Vinegar Syndrome, they are upfront. You know what's going to be in the sale. Everything, unless it came out in the last 6 months. Severin, whatever they feel like.
Saturday only box set sale. 24 hours. Go.
Yeah, and it's not even, if the sale wasn't even that great. It was like, I don't know, they called it, 50% off, but it's really like $10 to $15 off. And they're very expensive box sets, so everything's still really expensive. And I was like, I don't need this nunsploitation box set.
That's the one. If as soon as it's under 50, maybe under 45, I'll consider it, but I don't think I'll receive the day.
Yeah. Let's see. Italian horror is great for crediting that otherworldly effect. I think a big part of it is the odd dubbing. Yeah, some characters are dubbed in Italian horror. Rupert Everett's not, but yeah, like the girl is dubbed. So you're right. I had to think for a sec if the weird dubbing was in that movie or not. Let's see. It was gaming in 82. Back in 99, my kids were playing games. Okay, cool.
I was like,
I usually don't buy the knickknacks, but I had to get the Cemetery Man snow globe. Nice. I actually bought a snow globe today because I went to Home Goods because I heard they put their Halloween decorations out, and they did. And I bought this like jack-o'-lantern witchy Halloween snow globe, and I put it on my desk at work. And I was like, this makes me happy.
One of these sales, I'm going to get tipsy enough and convince myself to buy the Anomal Pin collection set from Scream Factory with whatever steelbook they're trying to get rid of.
Mel from My Killer Podcast, she's in the chat. She actually had a really good explanation of why those pins are so expensive, that apparently they use some kind of material that's illegal in the US and you can't manufacture it in the US. So they have to manufacture it overseas, and it's actually very expensive. So apparently that's why enamel pins are so expensive. That's what she said. I didn't fact check, but she's probably right.
Silly me.
Mainly just wanted opera. I wanted opera too, but not for $60. Like, the thing is, like, think about opera. I mean, $60 is a damn hard sell for any movie. Like, even with Vinegar Syndrome, the most you'll ever pay for one movie is $45, but $60. And like, I like opera, but I don't love opera's not one of my favorite movies, so I was not going to pay $60 for opera. Maybe they'll release standard edition down the road. If they do for a lot cheaper, I'll get that, but can't do that. Lucas says, I think the pin thing is fake news, but Mel says this is true. I believe you. I do. There's got to be a reason. Like, I don't think they're just evil. I mean, maybe they're a little...
Scam factory.
Oh, a scheme factory is what some people call them. Yeah, Creature from Black Widow. This is my Universal Monsters Tumblr. One interesting thing about it, it's all Universal Monsters, except down here in the corner is Curse of Frankenstein art, the Hammer movie. So they just got a little bit of Hammer down there in the corner. I don't know if that was a mistake or if that's just a little Easter egg for the true fans. But interesting.
Lucas, accept my bid. Or the offer I sent you. It's a good deal.
Okay, here's the thing. We got Cliff Booth in here. Says $60 is a deal for a 5-disc set. Here's the thing. I do not need 5 discs. I don't need those 5 discs. What are you talking about? I need 1, maybe 2. Like the one 4K disc, that's fine. If you want to give me the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc, great. 2-disc set, fine. 5 discs for one movie? No. $6 is not a deal for any movie.
For opera, movie. Right?
Crazy.
Opera,
Thank you for being in the chat, though, Cliff Booth. I'm a big fan of you. Once Upon a Time in the Hollywood. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Severin.
Here's the thing that's really annoying me with these transfers, that they'll do 4K scans and they'll update one disc and throw in all the previous discs you already own. Scream Factory is notorious for it, but Arrow's starting to do it too. Well, actually, Arrow just only throws in one disc and charges you $25. But like, they won't include the Blu-ray. So like if you do the 5-disc set, one of them's a CD. How many cars have the CD? Probably. The other discs
Yeah,
are the
CD.
bonus features of a previous release of Opera. And then those Blu-rays probably aren't remastered Blu-rays. They're probably just the regular Blu-ray included or a different cut of it. And then the new scan 4K. That's what I'm noticing these companies are doing boutique label wise. Because like I want to upgrade some of mine, but once I actually look at before I actually upgrade them, they're not doing that much work to justify a $30 to $25 price upgrade for what you already have on Blu-ray.
Yeah, yeah. And like I think Severin is probably the only boutique label that's doing the soundtracks on CD, and I could not care less about that. Like maybe some people do, maybe some people really care about, film soundtracks on physical media. I personally, I love physical media for movies. I don't care about physical media for music. I have some vinyls. I have a few vinyls. I don't have any CDs anymore. I just streaming is fine for me with music, but that's just a personal thing, and I want physical media for movies. I don't care about it for music. Streaming is fine for me. Yeah, I think so. It's just a way to justify charging way more money for something that costs them like nothing to produce. Interesting thing about this Opera 4K restoration is Severin is the first to reframe the movie properly because it was shot in Super 35, not full frame 35. So this is the first correct framing. That's very interesting. And that sounds great. I'm still not going to pay $60, but that does sound cool. And I would like to get a standard edition down the road.
Do they give out hard cases?
Interesting.
Do they do anything like that? Like Severin? Like with the release? I don't own any Severin at all. So I always see the standard black case Blu-rays. That's it. I
think for Opera, they did. I think they don't do it a lot. They do for their box sets.
Okay.
Like their box sets are a hard, nice knockable box. But like when they charged $55 for Cemetery Man on 4K, it was just a slipcover. And I bought the standard edition Blu-ray because that was fine for me. Let's see. During Halloween, I played the CD Severin release with the Absurd Blu-ray. Great fall atmosphere in that score. Okay, cool. I actually have that. I think mine comes with the CD. I still haven't watched Absurd, and I've owned this. Like this was in my first ever Severin order, and I still haven't watched it, which is
dude. Pathetic. Let's watch it.
Yes, I do. So I've got the Absurd soundtrack, so I can put that on and get good fall atmosphere.
Don't watch it until next week.
Why?
Because I'm moving there next week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Cris is moving near me next week. I'm very excited about. Somehow for this 1994 thing, I've grabbed all these Severin Blu-rays. Got lots of Severin.
I don't know if I want to go down the path of starting the new label that I want to like sink my teeth in is either Severin or Synapse, and I'm keep thinking Synapse because I own the
really like
4K. Their catalogs seem very similar.
Also, their catalog's very small, so it's easy to collect. There's not too much. Cris, what is your number 7?
Number 7, first movie I own, like physically. So, it's not one of my favorites during this series. I enjoy it. I like it. It's iconic. And based on all the other movies, I'd rather rewatch this one more often and talk about it. And that is Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. So
okay.
This came out right after Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Honestly, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, not very good in my opinion. I know people really like it, but I wasn't a big fan of it. But Space Godzilla, not that bad. So when I first watched this as a kid, I loved it. I even had a toy of Space Godzilla. It was great. And then when I rewatched it, when I binged through the entire Godzilla franchise, it wasn't as like loved in my opinion that I thought I would, I was like, oh, this is fine. This is cool. It feels like a little bit similar to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 and a little more like another previous Godzilla movie in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, but it's just space, and you don't even see him through most of the movie. It's mostly like Godzilla does something in the movie and then it cuts to Space Godzilla, like plotting, like he's a Power Ranger villain in a weird way. I just expected him to be so much more cooler, have much more of a presence. And he just doesn't. He doesn't get as much screen time. And the Godzilla design isn't that great. I'm not crazy about 90s Godzilla's design. I don't know. It's a mix between the 80s and what would come in the 2000s. And I think the 80s version is way cooler. But so it's a transitional time for the suit as well, which is a big thing for me. The fight itself is good, but it could have been better. Like the build up to Space Godzilla coming and kicking everyone's ass. Just doesn't feel like it happens like it should have. And that's my big thing. It's the definition of movie that he looks cool, does cool things, but it's not that great either. So that's the thing about Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. And I actually own every movie, including Biollante, on disc. You can see it behind me. Just weird little flex there.
Dude, hold on. You should, by the way, I just figured out how to do the solo layouts. That was fun. You should do a video on your Godzilla physical media collection. I feel like that video would kill.
Probably. Okay. Yeah, I have them all there. It's great. But yeah,
people have all the movies on physical media, so that's not many people can do that video, but you can.
I probably would if I actually got to snag the steelbook of Godzilla X Kong: The New Kingdom. Still haven't gotten it.
Is it out of print already?
The new steelbook? I can't find it anywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that's like you can't get it online.
Resale price probably.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
crazy how fast steelbooks sell out.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Godzilla's on anything, it's gonna carry its weight and its value. I even bought a couple pop figures of Godzilla, and I'm not even a pop figure guy, but I knew if I ever would want this, it's cheaper just to get it now. But yeah, it's fine. The human story is okay as well. This one just felt a little lackluster for me. To me, the best Godzilla movie in the 90s is easy Godzilla vs. Destroyer, or Godzilla vs. Mothra, The Battle for Earth from 1992. That one's great too. But Space Godzilla, and you get Baby Godzilla in it too. I do like Baby Godzilla's design in this movie, but yeah, it's just, I wish I loved it more, and it just didn't give me enough to love. Although the final battle is cool enough to be worthy of my top 9.
Cool. Well, I've never seen it. I've only seen a few Godzilla movies. I watched a lot of Godzilla when I was a kid, but I don't think I watched that one. I think it was mostly Showa era stuff that I watched as a kid. Ben says for
me, for H.
Oh, okay. I made a Godzilla stuffed animal. It was a T-Rex pattern, and my dad and I created the plates using some time of felt material. That's pretty cool. And Cult of J says 90 version of Goji?
Godzilla.
Is that like Gojira?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's my favorite version of Godzilla. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so my number 7 is Tim Burton's Ed Wood. You ever seen Ed Wood?
I haven't.
Very good. People act like it's like easily Tim Burton's best movie, and I'm not quite there, but I do think it's very good. I think it's one of his best movies. But it's a biopic about Ed Wood, who was a filmmaker back in primarily the 50s, who made what many people at least used to consider many of the worst movies ever made. But he has a big cult following now, so I don't think a lot of people would say that now. But of course, his most famous / infamous movie is Plan 9 from Outer Space, which I think is the only one of his movies I've actually seen. I've seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. I don't think I've watched any others, but it's a very fun biopic about him. It's fun to watch like a biopic that's not like somebody's rise to greatness, but just about a guy trying really hard and failing. It's interesting. So it's fun because like it's in black and white. It's got like classic monster movie vibe and atmosphere. It's about people who are fans of classic monster movies and are making them. So like for a fan of those kind of movies, it's just kind of, it's kind of perfect for me. And I think Johnny Depp is fantastic in it. The whole cast is fantastic. Martin Landau won an Oscar for playing Bela Lugosi. Apparently Bela Lugosi's daughter, I believe it was his daughter, said that this movie is not very accurate to how he was actually like. I think the main complaint I heard is that in this movie, he swears a lot. And I think his daughter said he did not actually swear that much. So, take that for what you will. But he is a really good character in this movie. And Tim Burton had a lot of love for Bela Lugosi. So this movie's like, Bela Lugosi did not get a lot of respect in his time, especially not at the end of his life. So this movie is like kind of a lovely tribute to him. And it's a very, very good movie. Very good biopic. Probably one of my favorite biopics. So you should check out Ed Wood. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I might have to. I do like Tim Burton. That came out in the 90s? Yeah, 94. Duh.
94.
So yeah, sounds fun.
We got some support for this one. Trudy is a big fan of this. Gary says his favorite Tim Burton after Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Very cool. I'm not sure where I rank it. My favorite Tim Burton is Sleepy Hollow. But Ed Wood would be top 5, I'm sure, at least. Lee O'Neill says, great movie, underrated Johnny Depp movie. Yeah, he's very good in it. Ken says, Ed Wood is my favorite movie about movie making. Sorry to Singing in the Rain. I'd have to think about that. But yeah, those, I think Singing in the Rain would probably be my favorite, but I do love Ed Wood. One of the great backstage Hollywood movies. Agreed. Ed Wood is a great movie, but it's almost a complete fabrication. Almost all of it was made up by Wood's cronies after he passed away. I can't argue with you. I don't exactly know, but you know, it's a movie, so it wouldn't surprise me too much. All right, man. I think we're on 6. What's your number 6?
Number 6. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's probably going to change as we keep going. So I think at number 6, I'm going to throw in. That's probably where I'll put. Yeah, I'll probably put In the Mouth of Madness at number 6 from John Carpenter.
Ooh. Wait, you don't own that movie?
I don't own it.
Dude, get that movie. You're probably waiting for a 4K, aren't you?
Yeah, I could never find it at a price I liked used, or ever find it used either. But I love that cover. But yeah, so I watched it with Daniel and Seth. We double featured that. It feels like forever ago with Possession.
That was your first time?
That was my first. Yeah, that was my first time. And if I remember watching it and thinking it felt like a Stephen King movie, you know?
Well, yeah.
And obviously the character seems very much like, you know, Stephen King. And
Sutter Kane. Yeah, it's not too subtle.
Yeah.
It's a Stephen King reference.
And I think with Sam Neill's portrayal, I just feel so bad for the guy because he there's this scene where he's like trying to get out and he's driving and he can't get out. And I'm like, when characters just can't escape, and it's similar kind of like to Cemetery Man, why I liked it so much. And with the ending, it's just like, I don't know, that like does it for me. When characters are stuck in like a time and space or something like that, I just really like that. And it feels like that with In the Mouth of Madness. And the visuals are so good. It's John Carpenter. So when like the creatures are disfigured and stuff like that, it's really it's gory and cool. I really enjoy that that aspect of it. And obviously like the score is good. I haven't rewatched it in a while, so I can't put it any further down. So it's probably due for a rewatch, but I do always remember watching that movie and thinking like, this is crazy. Like this is a very imaginative movie from Carpenter. It feels very different from a lot of his other movies on his catalog. And the score is great too, but I feel like that's very common wordage when we talk about Carpenter and his movies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's much higher on my list. So I will talk about it then.
There you go.
But my number 6 is maybe like the most basic internet pick maybe the second most basic internet pick for the best movie in 1994. And that is The Shawshank Redemption, which is a movie that like I loved back in the day and like watched it a lot, had a huge impact on me, very emotional movie. I have not watched it in years and I don't know when I'm going to watch it again, but back in the day, I really love The Shawshank Redemption. So is this making your list, Chris?
It is not. I'm not a big fan of Shawshank Redemption. I mean, I applaud it, but man, that is the movie where the film bro, like, I don't know, is that even a meme anymore? I feel like it isn't, but like that time where, you know, dudes who are like watching 3 movies a year and their favorite movies of all time are Fight Club and stuff. If they wanted to be the elevated alpha version of that, they would say Shawshank Redemption. Oh, if you haven't seen it, man, you actually don't know about movies, bro. You don't know. That's how it was.
For a long time, it was the number 1 movie on IMDb in terms of rating.
The other thing. Yeah. I've seen it.
It wasn't a big hit when it came out, so it was kind of a slow burn of a hit.
I think it's one of those movies that just got parodied, got referenced so much, and I just never understood them. And then when I watched the movie, I just kind of like, okay, I get it now. I don't know. It just never really made much of an impact on me.
Sure. Also in 1994, like Forrest Gump was the movie. It made the most money. I mean, of all of the awards darlings, it was the second biggest movie of the year. Won Best Picture. And then with time, everyone was like, Shawshank Redemption should have won. Or another movie that we're going to talk about later, which is higher on my list, and I'm sure will be much higher on yours. But yeah, it's a basic movie. It's an inspirational film, but I did really love it. I found it very emotional. Like at the end, it's an incredible ending. And amazing performances. And the whole way that Andy Dufresne escapes is so ingenious, and it's so satisfying to a viewer to see that all come together. But it's a very cool steel book that I got here. So There's that. I do love this movie. I don't know when I'll watch it again because I don't watch a lot of inspirational dramas these days, to be honest, but it's a great movie. Let's see. That is the first reaction movie for the YouTube channel Popcorn in Bed. I've never heard of that channel, but okay, cool. Story Shawshank is based on is even better. Yes, based on Stephen King. Speaking of Stephen King, we were talking about it in the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, it's one of those like you wouldn't expect it to be a Stephen King movie, but it is. And directed by Frank Darabont.
It's no Dolores Claiborne though. I'm gonna say that.
I've never seen Dolores Claiborne.
Oh, watch that. I like that movie way more.
Okay,
they're not that similar, but like talking about like movies you forget Stephen King, Dolores Claiborne.
Okay, I can't argue. Susan says it's an amazing movie. Brett says one of his favorite. Ben says one of his favorite movies of all time. I've watched it probably 50 times. Right on, right on.
It's like I'll say something and then everyone's the opposite.
No, people supported you on Hoop Dreams.
Oh, okay.
All right, man. We're on 5. What you got?
This is where it gets maybe a little bit more predictable, but 5 is where this was like, I might switch it, but I think I might put Cemetery Man at 5 for me. I think I'd rewatch it and have a good a time as I did with the first time watching with Cemetery Man versus In the Mouth of Madness. But again, I need to rewatch it. So maybe one of these days I will rewatch it and then be like, you know what? Maybe I made a mistake on the live. Maybe I should have swapped them. We'll see. But Cemetery Man at 5, it made quite the impression. I'm a sucker for those kind of movies, as you know. I'm a big Fulci guy. Those 80 Italian horror movies I really, really enjoy. So Cemetery Man feels in that vein, and it feels like a love letter in some way. So, and I really like the lead of Rupert Everett. I really like him.
Yeah, me too. What did your wife think of this movie?
She said it was entertaining and it was different.
It sure is.
And she pointed out the scene. She had me rewind when he gets up after making love to the love of his life for the first time. You see his member. And I missed it. And she said, rewind it and look back. And I did. And it was there. And I was like, oh, nice. There it is. Yeah, I don't know. For her. Yeah. So she enjoyed most of it. But yeah, I had a good time too.
Good.
Get you a wife that lets you watch these movies and we'll sometimes watch them with you.
Yeah. I'm now curious. I kind of want to show that to Stephanie. I don't know how she'd react. Let's see. Zombies Aim Arm says, I just watched Dolores Claiborne recently. So good, but I am from Maine, so we're all a bit biased here when it comes to anything Stephen King. Maine, that is awesome.
Dude, I think these past few years, I've been such a Stephen King guy, like with his movies. Like I'm just all about his movies and like the vibe. He's like one of my favorite subgenres, I think, just Stephen King.
Yeah. I've got a video coming out soon that I'm currently working on editing on Creep Show. So that's a fun opportunity to talk about Stephen King.
Yeah.
I guess because you mentioned Fulci, Wayne Butler says, I'm down for the movie Zombie. Hell yes. Zombie, I think Chris and I both agree that it was like a slow burn for us where we Zombie did not used to be one of my favorite Fulcis, and it's a movie I've just come to kind of love a lot more over time.
I'm always tempted to buy it so cheap from Arrow, but I know Blue Underground has a 4K, but that's always getting sold out when it's on sale. So one of these days I'm going to snipe it. It was
also held me back that the Blue Underground slipcover sold out for it, but then I finally got a Blue Underground release with a slipcover, and their slipcovers are crap. So I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter anymore.
The thing specifically about Blue Underground, especially with Zombie for me, is I was always confused when it was only on Blu-ray with the new 4K scan. And it had 3 different versions of the slipcover in the copy. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't care at this point. And then shortly after the actual 4K came out, and I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till there's a sale for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I do need it. Oh, I like this comment from Trudy. It's different. You can tell you're still newlywed. I don't know. Charlie, she has told me about some movies that I've shown her that she thinks are terrible. So she'll be honest.
Yeah, she will.
Let's see. Lucas just moved to Maine. Very cool. Want to join a Stephen King book club?
Actually, I went to a Stephen King movie marathon or festival at the Music Box here in Chicago when I first moved here. I met one of my friends, Abram, who's a big Stephen King guy himself. So we like to talk about Stephen King movies. The next one I think I'm ready to dive into is Cujo.
I like Cujo a lot. I almost think maybe, I don't know if it's a little underrated, but I think it's pretty great. It has a 4K from Kino that I still don't have. Every time a sale comes around, I like almost buy it, and then I don't.
Same.
But I need to get it, and I need to rewatch it because I remember being a big fan of it.
Facts, honestly, the same.
Wayne says, speaking of Stephen King, I like the movie The Tommyknockers. I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. Tommyknockers, interesting. Okay, so we're on my 5, right? Cemetery Man was your 5. Okay, I got a Vinegar Syndrome, dude. You excited? Burning Paradise.
Yeah, you talked about. I've seen.
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
This is of, I think of the whole list, this is my most recent discovery. So I saw this fairly recently, earlier this year. And it's one of the best movies I've seen so far this year. It's a Hong Kong action movie, kind of a horror movie, martial arts film. But it takes place in, I don't remember the time period, but it's a period piece, and there's a war going on. And it's about this guy who's just like this super badass, just martial arts warrior. And he wields this gigantic sword that's like a huge machete and just like slices people in half with it. It's awesome. But he gets captured by the army. There's basically like the evil empire, it feels like, and they throw him in a prison. So it's technically a prison movie, but it's not much at all like what we think of as prison movies. Like like the prison doesn't feel like a prison. It feels like a gothic vampire castle. Like it's just a awesome atmosphere in there. And there's also women in the prison. So like he has a romance with this woman, and it's actually very cute. And Hong Kong movies are notorious for throwing like weird sex comedy, rom-com kind of stuff into their action movies and such. And it does have some like rom-com kind of stuff, and it's very cute. And there's also a woman villain in here who's like pretty awesome too. So it's not just a bunch of dudes like, you know, an American prison movie would be like Shawshank Redemption.
There you go.
2 prison movies in a row. But the action is incredible, but it does feel more like a gothic horror film than most martial arts film would. And like the main villain is like the warden of the place. And he feels like Gary Oldman's Dracula. Like he really does feel like that. And he is awesome. He is a terrifying villain. And it's a fantastic Hong Kong horror film. It's one of the best Vinegar Syndrome releases.
And this was like during their subscriber week. This was on one of the daily deals.
It was on one. I got it during like a Black Friday deal or something, so it was a little more expensive, but it's awesome.
I held off that week. It was tough at some days. Most days it was pretty easy, but dang, I remember I saw that and I was like, I remember you talking about that. Should I? Perhaps.
Those Hong Kong movies, most of them don't seem to sell out very fast. So I would bet next subscriber week you could probably get it again.
There you go.
Sets of Burning Paradise sends up my alley. Yeah, I think you would like it, man. I really do. Burning Paradise, great movie. Yeah, you watched it on my recommendation, which I appreciate. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, man. We're in the top 4. What's your number 4?
At number 4, you know, I kind of feel embarrassed saying it is in the top 5, but like, I mean, gosh, I mean, we talk about this so much during the season, so it's got to be the Santa Claus for me at number 4, man. I mean,
I would call you a liar if you didn't bring that up.
Yeah, like I reference that movie so much. Like it's not even Christmas; it's just the Santa Claus month for me. You know, because I'll just like reference that movie, watch that movie a few times, and gosh, I just love the Santa Claus. It's a shame I have to watch it once during one season or 1 month of the year. But I make sure to wear out that Blu-ray. What can't be said about the Santa Claus? Honestly, it's weird that it's Disney thought Tim Allen was the guy to cast as Santa Claus, and I don't know, it just works so perfectly. Yeah, he literally, like, no one else can be him. But I think at the time, if you said that, like, could you? I don't know. You could. It feels like, I wonder if it was one of those things where it's like Michael Keaton is cast as Batman, and people are like, "What, Mr. Mom?" You know, like,
to people who are around and like old enough to remember in 1994, was there big controversy when Tim Allen was casted as Santa Claus?
Incoming.
Let us know.
Santa
riding on in a Panzer.
That movie.
We got Santa Claus turbo tank.
Incoming. Well, I hope you've been really good this year,
because it looks like Santa just took out the Pearson house.
Oh gosh, like it's such a time capsule movie that I just love it so much. It's truly dear and close to my heart. So yeah, it has to be the top 5. It's the one of the reasons I want satin like pajamas that have like my initials on
Some
there.
waitress gave you pajamas.
I also want to go to Denny's and be that sad dad that ruined the Christmas dinner. And then just like see all the other single dads there. I mean, that probably will never happen in my life, but I just want to experience that.
Everybody now, still to this day, every time I see Denny's, I think everybody loves Denny's. It's an American institution.
There you go.
I for some reason I didn't consider Santa Claus for my list. I guess because like at this point in my life, I admit I don't really care about the Santa Claus. But when I was a kid, I was obsessed with this movie, and I have it memorized. As you can tell, like I can quote it front to back. I watched the Santa Claus all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Gosh, I just loved it. And yeah, and Tim Allen, he was Santa Claus for a generation. He was my Santa Claus. I mean, I liked other Santa Claus movies too. I mean, I liked Miracle on 34th Street, but Tim Allen, he was my Santa. We got some opinions in here. Zombie 8 Martin says, not really as far as being controversial. He was riding high on home improvement love. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he was one of like, the America's Dad kind of guys from that show. No, because Tim was huge then. Trudy says it was controversial. He was thought to be too adult. It obviously worked though. Interesting. Yeah, Ben says Home Improvement was huge.
I mean, Veronica, nice.
Home Improvement is huge, but his comedy was thought to be more grown up. Remember his HBO specials? No, I've never seen Tim Allen do stand up before. I was 11 then, so yeah, I don't remember there being much controversy over it. I think that they cast Tim Allen because he was so good at being a pompous jerk, but he made the transition to Santa Claus very well. Yeah, yeah. I love Scott Calvin. He's such a fun character, and my thing with that movie, I love the first 2/3. The last third where it becomes about the police doing a manhunt for him. I don't really care about that stuff as much.
We are elves with attitude.
Oh, I hate them.
Yeah.
They're so annoying.
And people do like Easter eggs of like seeing the elves throughout the movie as kids. I'm like, oh, who cares? For me, it's all about that opening, which is why Johnson's secretary is sitting on his lap. Remember I said that to my boss once when I worked in the office.
I love how they made having an affair with your secretary joke in this children's movie, and we ate it up. We loved it.
How people can't tell me they didn't used to say when they're running late, you wouldn't believe the traffic out here. That's not very ladylike.
Oh. We're going to Neil's family. Ooh, Christmas at the Pound. I love Judge Reinhold as Neil. Low-key the MVP of those movies. Yeah. Iconic. Yeah. Neil is like my favorite movie character of all time.
I didn't realize at the time he'd be such a fashion icon when I'm an adult.
Dude, the sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
About those sweaters.
Did we make that? I think checks.
We could quote the Santa Claus all night long.
Pretty much.
Ben says, I have actually been Santa Claus for 4 school plays. One, I was the lead in 6th grade, and the other 3, I come as Santa Claus for my mother's school Christmas programs. Oh, that's fun. Nice. That's fun.
Do you like throw the suit on? Like, you want me to wear the suit? Fine. And then you go, how do I look?
Good. Yeah. We're getting the Disney Channel this year. Merry Christmas. Probably from the cable company. Okay. Did you watch the new Disney Plus, the Santa Claus show?
No, I didn't. I thought
Stephanie and Stephanie loves these movies too. We watched one episode and we were like, no, this is terrible.
I feel like the Disney Plusification is like ruining some of those. So I try not to.
Disney Plus original content sucks so bad. Unless it's Andor. Andor is like the only thing I care about from Disney Plus. Good grief. Oh yeah, Tim Allen, he got busted for coke, right? Because he was a coke addict back in the day, way back in the day. I think I've seen his mugshot.
Oh,
it says he does throw the suit on like that.
That's good. I like that. Remember, he had this show. Oh gosh, what was that freaking show that was on like
Last Man Standing?
Yeah, I used to watch it just for Tim Allen. That's how much I loved his Tim. That's how much I loved him in the Santa Claus. I was supporting him through that. Actually, the daughter in that show, the youngest one that's championed him, like she ended up being
she's big now.
Mm-hmm. Who would have thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Last Man Standing. I gotta admit, it's pretty fun. Let's see. Okay, so that was your number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ahead of In the Mouth of Madness. My number 4 is Dumb and Dumber. I'm kind of using the fact that this is a double pack as like almost like a double pick with The Mask. I didn't officially put The Mask on my list, but you could kind of call this pick both Dumb and Dumber and The Mask, because I really love The Mask. But I haven't seen The Mask in years. But huge classic, huge classic from my childhood. But Dumb and Dumber is one of the biggest classics of my childhood ever. Very important movie between my dad and I. My dad loves Dumb and Dumber. We watched it together all the time. It's like the comedy that we have bonded over the most in our lives. And I really think Dumb and Dumber is one of the funniest movies ever made. People call it, like, you know, by the title, just like a dumb movie, but I actually think it's like kind of a smart movie because the jokes are really clever. Like you watch comedies today, and a lot of times I like some comedies today, but so often, and I'm not a prude, but it's just like sex joke, dick joke. And that's like kind of all they have. But Dumb and Dumber, it's clever. It's got a lot of like really good gags that are well set up, really funny. Jim Carrey is amazing in it. Jeff Daniels goes toe to toe with him. Jeff Daniels, like, just as good.
Yeah.
Love this movie. Do you love Dumb and Dumber?
I used to hate it. But then I watched it, you know, with your household, and I did kind of come around with it. I did kind of go, okay, cool. I get it. Like, it's pretty good. It's enjoyable. For someone who doesn't really like comedy movies that much, I do really like Dumb and Dumber. Interesting, though, The Mask. I've actually never seen The Mask.
Oh, it's
or its
great.
sequels or anything like that. Yeah.
Really fun. Again, like going back to movie crushes, Cameron Diaz in The Mask. Unreal. Like, I feel like she changed the brain chemistry of so many young men watching this when she walks into the bank in the red dress, just like, holy cow.
And speaking of Rupert Everett earlier, she's in My Best Friend's Wedding with him as well as the love interest.
Oh, I've never seen that movie. Okay, cool.
Charlie showed me that one, actually. Oh, I thought you would have saw it. Okay.
Yeah, actually I haven't. That's who's the lead in that movie?
Julia Roberts.
That's right, Julia Roberts. Yeah, never seen it. Dumb and Dumber says one of the most quoted movies when I was in high school was a smash hit in our area. Oh, it's so quotable. Yeah, so much fun. Ben is a big fan of it. Wayne also loves The Mask. Okay, off topic, but well, not off topic. Back to what we were talking about before. Matt's going to bat for some MCU shows, and you know what? You're not wrong. The Loki season 1 was pretty good. Pretty good. I thought it was way over reliance on like CGI, but that's like all MCU stuff. But like, I feel like worse CGI in Loki. But it's good. I never saw season 2. Heard it was good. WandaVision was pretty good. I agree. I think just like at this point, I'm just kind of like, I'm just burned out on Disney Plus shows. I just don't care anymore. But you're right. Like, there is some decent stuff. I loved The Mandalorian back in the day. Never watched season 3. Again, just don't feel like I care anymore. But I did, you know, when season 1 and 2 were on, I loved them. But
yeah, anyway. I never saw any of the MCU shows, I'll be honest. I think that's, and I think I remember even saying, I think we in our group chat had said the thing about Disney Plus is what's going to make or break it. Are people going to commit to the shows to be the prerequisite before the new movies start coming out? And we thought, oh, they won't alienate the fans like that. Maybe they'll throw Easter eggs, but now it's seeming like that might be the case.
I think it's proven that people will not.
Yeah. And with Star Wars, I thought I could keep up. Obviously, Acolyte, I haven't watched a new episode. I haven't seen Ahsoka either. But I think I said I'm not going to watch the MCU shows, and I probably won't need to watch the movies at that point if I have to. And it feels like they're playing my hand. But It seems like they started off strong, but I feel like they just make too many shows and seasons of those shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're just not really that impactful. You know, they're like fine, they're competent enough usually, but you just don't, they're not must-see television for sure.
TV, and I'm not saying I'm a TV guy, and I may be completely wrong, but for me, it feels like shows will do so well in those first seasons, and they're like 4 to 8 episode seasons, and people want the next season. And there's too much time between them that people will lose interest so fast. So when season 2 comes around, nobody cares anymore.
All streaming services are like that now, because like Steph and I were obsessed with Severance. Like, we thought it was incredible. We were so into it. And it's been years. It has been years since until like season 2. And like, I don't even know when season 2 is coming out. It's crazy.
It's like, yeah, I think that's the make or break it for a lot of people. And I think that's why these shows, we get bad taste, like the Mandalorian season 3, it's cool. I enjoyed it. I don't blame you for losing interest because there's a lot of time between 2 and 3, a lot bigger than between 1 and 2.
Yeah. Anyway, Zombies Ate My Arm says Dumb and Dumber is a perfect comedy. Totally agree. Yeah, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. Love The Mask more though. Totally understandable. I love The Mask. Like I said, it's almost like a top 10 because they're almost kind of tied. I mean, they're not technically tied because Dumb and Dumber is definitely my favorite, but it's kind of thrown in The Mask in there too. Alex says totally enjoyed Dumb and Dumber 2 in theaters as well. Yeah, did we see it together? We might have saw it together. I actually kind of enjoyed it in theaters too. I don't think I ever rewatched it, but I had a good enough time. It was like, I think I saw Chris Stuckman's review of Dumb and Dumber 2, and like his review was basically like, it's nice to see them again. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the thing with Dumb and Dumber 2. Like, it's nice to see those guys again, but that's kind of where it's at. Anyway, my childhood was Full Moon Video. Nice. Very cool. I've just recently started getting into Full Moon, and like, I loved, the Subspecies movies. I've only seen 1 through 3 so far. Actually, Subspecies 3 was like, might have been my number 9 if I had it on physical media, because Subspecies 3 is pretty awesome. It's a vampire movie from Full Moon. Really good. 1994. Yeah, it was Cameron Diaz's debut movie, and holy cow, she made an impression. I did not watch Marvel's What If series. Did you, Chris?
No.
That's right.
No.
You just said that you never watched MCU show.
Again, another season, I think, where the seasons were too long in between, that I've heard groans about, but
yeah, they just seem to be like, oh, maybe this could happen in alternate universe. And I'm just like, that I'm not invested in that. That's not enough for me.
Yeah.
Just announced the Severance season 2 is coming January of next year. It's so good, but the wait has been crazy. And I know that the strikes were part of the reason for the wait, but even so, like, still, it's taken forever. But that's exciting. Like, I'll be there day one. That cliffhanger at the end of Severance season 1 was insane. Holy cow. Yeah, we did see Dumb and Dumber 2 together. Cool. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Here's my thing, since Ulrich's in the chat already, about shows and like the gap between them. I fell in love with The Boys when season 3 was coming out. Like, it was projected everywhere, like the boys. And I finally was like, with Charlie, I was like, let's just check out the first episode. Got hooked. We binged those first 2 seasons, and the third season we started watching as it was getting released, and we loved it. But now season 4 just now came out. It's been a couple of years, and like now we're just like, okay, like, feel like we've lost that hype. Talk about a show that had everyone synced in, and actually Ulrich and I talked about that, and like, it's not even that good of a season. So you wait all this time, and then it's like it loses its hype and its buzz, and then it can't deliver when that season comes out. You kind of don't care about it.
Yeah, I finally figured out this is the stream where I'm playing with the layouts of StreamYard. I finally figured out how to make you big and me small. I wanted to do that earlier and I couldn't figure it out, but I just did. So go me. Okay, so where are we at? We're on your number 3, right? Top 3.
I was so happy. This is where you're like, Chris, why is it so low? Like at your number 3, if you forgot about it. So I was so happy when I saw that this came out the same year, and it was like down the list on IMDb, which surprised me. I thought this movie did a lot better, but it didn't. But for me, it's maybe my favorite. It might be maybe number 2 of Spike Lee's movies. It's Crooklyn. I have this through Kino. Okay. I love this movie. It's kind of like Spike Lee explaining his childhood growing up in Brooklyn. They call it Crooklyn. So it has Delroy Lindo, which I love him in this role. He's so good in this movie. He plays the dad in this movie, and the wife, what's her name? I think it's Zelda Harris. I could be wrong. But oh wait, no, it's she was in If Beale Street Could Talk. What's her name? I'm forgetting her name. Well, I feel bad. I gotta look it up. Either way, the wife in the movie, she won the Best Supporting Actress in If Beale Street Could Talk. I can't remember her name for the life of me right now. She's also the fairy godmother in Hilary Duff's Cinderella Story. It's another role I remember it, but she's here as the wife. Are you sure it's not
Zelda Harris?
Is it Zelda Harris? It could be.
She's coming up. She plays Troy.
I've never seen this movie. The daughter. So I don't know. But either way, so it's about.
Oh, no, it's Alfre Woodard.
Okay.
Alfre Woodard. Okay.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different actress. I thought that was her. Either way. So basically, Delroy Lindo carries this movie, being the dad.
Yeah, Wayne Butler confirmed. Cool.
Thank you. So Delroy Lindo is the patriarch of the family. He's like an artist, and they're short on money. And he's basically, the wife is carrying the family with money and finances. The kids are working as well. It's just kind of like a slice of life growing up movie, like almost coming of age, but it's more like comical in some points. It is a Spike Lee movie, so it's going to have some perspectives of the time. So like one of the boys, like even though it's like pop, cool, funk music and hip hop, like it says, oh, well, he joins, a gang that, goes against and vandalizes in the sake of, like fighting out white supremacist groups and stuff like that. And it's got like those kind of offbeat moments like Spike Lee does have, but it's pretty enjoyable, and like you relate to it in some way or you support that. But the big thing about me is just, it's just a family living in a small little flat, and they all love each other. They care about each other, even through hardships. And that's what I loved about it. It's not like very dramatic. It's very much like, we're going to get through this together. I just really enjoy this movie. It feels like it's one of his more wholesome movies, if I can say that, because there's still a lot of like, problems of the time. Like it's his perspective growing up, but it's a wonderful movie. It's joyful. I love the characters. The actors portray themselves really well. And I know Spike Lee probably gets a little flack for some people saying like his movies are a little heavy handed, or it's a little bit critiquing too much, or yada, yada, or it's too long of a movie too sometimes. But this one at 115 minutes, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's shot up my list after I watched it. I was like, this is delightful. Like I like this family. I want this family to succeed. And yeah. And I think he also is in this movie himself, which is kind of nice to see.
Okay, cool. I've never seen it. I haven't seen much Spike Lee, so I think, I've seen Do the Right Thing and Black Klansman, and I think that's it. So yeah, I haven't watched many of his movies. So, but I've heard you talk about Crooklyn a lot. I know it's been a big favorite of yours.
Yeah, that one's like, I think, an easier to get into movie than like his other stuff. Maybe it's not more of his well known, but I do like this one.
Right on. Okay, cool. Okay, my number 3, Speed.
Ooh, yeah.
You got Speed on the list?
I do got Speed on the list.
All right, cool. Yeah, Speed, it's just one of the most just fun action blockbusters ever made. So much fun. I mean, you got Keanu Reeves as this is just like his just quintessential badass cop role.
Yeah.
You got Sandra Bullock, Dennis Hopper. For me, the first time I watched the movie, I was almost like, I almost can't take this movie seriously because Dennis Hopper is so silly in it. Like he's just so over the top. It's like he saw Jack Nicholson as the Joker and was like, that's not over the top enough. I'm going to do more. But it's fun. It's just such a great concept. I hear people compare it to Die Hard a lot. Like it's Die Hard on a bus. I don't know. Other than talking to the villain on like a walkie-talkie or whatever, I don't think it's very much like Die Hard. It's certainly not a Die Hard ripoff.
No.
But yeah, his chemistry with Sandra Bullock is so good. Action is so fun. And this is a movie that that my wife Stephanie actually likes, and she is not an action movie fan. Usually I cannot get her to watch an action film. And I didn't even try to get her to watch this. I just put it on and she sat down and she watched the whole thing. She was really into it. So that was really cool. Yeah, it's such an entertaining movie.
It's actually funny because it's my number 2 movie.
Oh, heck yeah.
Look at
this. Oh, you got the 4K.
Yeah, I picked this up for $5.
Right on.
Yeah, the 4K looks great. This movie's awesome. Jeff Daniels.
I love this comment from Judy. Girls have the same reaction to Keanu that you had to Cameron Diaz. I love that. Respect. Yeah. It's awesome.
Crew cut Keanu is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I even made that comment.
Quiz hot shot. So good.
This movie, man, like, yeah, the Dennis Hopper thing, I had explained who Dennis Hopper was to Charlie, and I was like, so he's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and he fights and she goes, okay, I get it.
I love how the first sentence to describe Dennis Hopper, oh, he was in Texas Chainsaw 2.
So like to explain the over the topness, but also for me, the movie was Jeff Daniels. I loved his character.
I love his role, his line so much. He goes, I'm gonna go home, have some sex.
Yeah, I cracked that too. This movie was really good. I really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's just like a perfectly entertaining action blockbuster It's
Mhm.
original. It's not a franchise.
Mhm.
Just so fun. It is okay. I think, yeah, of the Keanu Reeves action films, I would say it's my second favorite. Point Break
Mm,
is still my favorite. Then I'd go
mm.
Speed. Then I'd go John Wick. And then I'd go The Matrix at 4. Hot take.
I'd probably switch John Wick with Matrix, and I think we're probably the same.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure I knew you were such a big Point Break fan.
I've
Cool.
watched it only once, but that once was like, wow, that's
Mm,
cool.
yeah.
But for this movie, it was oddly way more violent than I thought it was going to be. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like with the explosion when the woman tries to hop off the bus when she's not supposed to,
Oh,
she gets
yeah.
blown up. I was like, holy,
Stakes are there, man.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Um, gosh, Sandra Bullock in this movie does
Oh,
something
she's
to me.
adorable.
It's
This is the year, I believe it's the year before she did While You Were Sleeping. And the 1-2 punch of those two movies, so great. I hope to God While You Were Sleeping was not. Okay, yeah, it was 95, thank God, because otherwise I'd have to go get it right now because it would have to be like my number one. I love While You're Sleeping so much.
Yeah, Wildcat. Why did I get it before? And I was like, yeah, why didn't I get that before either? Anyway, if you're not a sports fan, you probably wouldn't get that. Or collegiate sports fan, I don't know. But yeah. I also love how everyone, when Keanu's like, I'm a police officer. No, you're not. Yes, I am. And then he shows the badge, and then everyone's like admitting the small petty crimes they've done.
I love how like when he's first on the bus, he's just wearing like a flannel shirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's that's a good movie. I just really also the opening credits where it just goes to everyone. It's a constant elevator down. I was a little annoyed, but I kind of loved it at the same time.
Great
It was like,
opening scene. Good little
yeah.
side mission to open it up with.
Mhm.
So I kind of want to go right in. So that was your number 2. I kind of want
Yeah.
to go right into my number 2 because I think it's your number 1.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Okay.
You're number 1, right?
Yeah.
You don't wait. Where's your copy?
So I got rid of it because I got a 4K release, and
Oh,
I
but
heard
you
the
haven't bought the 4K yet.
because it gets sold out every time it's on sale. It was $10. Most times that's on sale is $10 and it gets sold out.
It's Prime Day. Is there a Prime Day sale for it?
I don't think that,
right
that
now.
if it's not $10, I don't pick it up because that's the cheapest I've seen it on Best Buy. Rest in peace.
It is $15.99 Prime Day deal.
Damn, 15.
You should just buy it. But you can get the Blu-ray for $8.99. But I know you don't want to do that. You already got rid of it.
But yeah, no.
Anyway, yeah, Pulp Fiction, an incredible movie. A movie that I saw for the first time in high school, and actually, like, I didn't really get it. Seth in the chat, our mutual friend Chance showed us this, and I didn't really get it. And then I watched it again, like when I was probably maybe like 19, 20, like a couple years out of high school, and I became like obsessed with it. And I watched it like there was a week where I watched this movie like over and over. Like I was so obsessed with this movie. And I do absolutely love it. It had been my favorite Tarantino for so long. It might have gotten overtaken by Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at this point, which is crazy, but it is one of my favorite movies of all time. When it comes to like 90s crime movies, it's probably my favorite, although Goodfellas is really close. Every story, it's kind of like an anthology, but every story is amazing and the cast is incredible. My favorite in the movie is Travolta. I just love John Travolta in this movie. He's so much fun to watch. But I'm a big John Travolta fan in general, and I love this movie. What can you say? It's a classic.
Yeah. I want to eat at a restaurant that's like Jack Rabbit Slim. Honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
$5 shake.
For me, that movie, I think it cemented itself for me is every time I watch it and it's the adrenaline shot scene. It just always, even though I know this scene so well, it still gets my heart racing every single time. Uma Thurman is so good in this movie.
Absolutely. Iconic.
Yeah. I actually really like the Bruce Willis first half. The stuff with the GIMP, it still bothers me some. It's good. It's great. I applaud it, but I just can't. It just makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Hard to watch.
Yeah. But I do like him and his French girlfriend, you know, and the part where when Bruce Willis says it's right next to the little kangaroo and she's like, I didn't see it. And he just like, it's fine. And then he goes, I fucking told her that it was right there. And he's just like freaking out. And I'm just like, God, I've been there. I freaked out like that. I crashed out like that before. So that scene always lives rent free for me. And I can verify that when you go to France and you order a Big Mac or a quarter pounder with cheese, they do call it a Royale with cheese. I can
All
verify that.
right. Confirmation.
And Le Big Mac, they do call it that. I can verify.
Cult of Jay's got an important question. What does Marcellus look like?
Isn't this a family friendly stream? Can't say it. But I can say what Samoa Joe did to Uma Thurman. Guy got crashed down for touching another man's feet. I mean, that's a guy's wife, for crying out loud.
I love that conversation.
Just so good.
So good. Love it. Big Kahuna burger. I still want one of those burgers. And I want something to wash it down.
That's such a that's a crazy opening. Just such a crazy opening movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for
the soundtrack, holy cow, it's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Every song is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even mention it, but another one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, Dumb and Dumber. Like underrated, but the soundtrack to Dumb and Dumber is incredible. And like every song in this movie, I hear it and I'm just like Dumb and Dumber, and I know exactly what scene it is, and so good. Two of the best soundtracks, 1994.
Interesting with Dumb and Dumber. I never thought to commit to memory what that soundtrack was when I watched it.
It's great.
Man, Pulp Fiction though. Yeah, that is a good one. I'm not gonna lie. Like it feels, I mean, it's so good. Like everyone, I feel like, is there people who don't like Pulp Fiction?
Me, it feels weird being in high school.
Feels weird being in the majority of a movie that everyone loves, So it's like sometimes I'm like, wow, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the classics are classics for a reason, they just are that good.
Yeah.
Normalize still feels bad for poor Marvin.
Yeah. Normalize telling people if we're instead of saying you good or everything's good, just say we happy. We happy.
I think of that scene all the time. Like often when my toddler son is like upset and I'll like give him something and then he's like, okay, and it's like, we happy? And he's like, oh, we happy. Because he's got like a cracker or something. Susan says, Keanu Reeves. I'm loving the Keanu love. Just love him. Ooh, Matt showed up right when Pulp Fiction is mentioned. Yeah, it's my number 2 of 1994, and it is Chris's number 1. And it's Matt's number 1 of all time. I believe Pulp Fiction is his favorite movie.
Such a hipster, Matt.
Yeah. By the way, we're starting to get towards the end. We haven't hit my number 1 yet. But if you've got a list of 9 favorites, drop them in the chat. I would love to see them, react to them, tell me what your favorites are, or just a few of your favorite movies in 1994. He's a little upset we haven't talked about Natural Born Killers yet. I've never seen Natural Born Killers. Have you, Chris?
I have. I watched it after high school. It was a weird filmmaking choice for me, like the aesthetic of how it was made. I don't know. I just didn't like that style of filmmaking. It's a crazy dark movie. It's I can see why it shocked people when it came out. Tarantino wrote the script, but didn't get the credit for it, if I remember correctly.
I've heard it turned out almost nothing like what he wrote. Like he's basically said, like, it's just Oliver Stone's movie.
Yeah. And the prison escape scene is like, geez, what a messed up, I mean, I understand probably why people like it, but for me, it was just like not my kind of thing. But you get a very young Robert Downey Jr. as a warden in that movie, which I do like that. I don't like the flashback scenes very much though. Oh,
I was on mute. Robert Downey Jr. is what? As a warden?
Yeah, he plays a warden in the movie.
That's kind of hard to imagine, especially in 1994. He'd been pretty baby-faced back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never seen it. It doesn't look like my kind of thing. It doesn't really look like my aesthetic, but I don't know if here's the crazy thing. I don't know if I've ever seen an Oliver Stone movie. I don't think I've ever watched one of his movies.
Platoon?
I watched like half of Platoon and I did not like it, but I don't really like war movies.
Right.
I don't know if Lucas is trolling. He says Pulp Fiction is terrible, worst movie of all time. He's trolling. He's gotta be.
He's gotta, right? He's gotta.
Let's see. Trudy says her number 1 is In the Mouth of Madness. And what a coincidence, because it's my number one of 1994, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. By the way, I gotta get Lucas off the hook. He says, okay, I kid. Also, hello, Aslan Lion, our Lord and Savior himself.
Nice.
Aslan, he died for us, and you got to respect him for it. Yet here he is in the chat. Matt says, I just feel like Oliver Stone would not be your guy for some reason. Yeah, it seems like every movie he makes is like super political, and I never really thought about it before, but I don't think I'm that into political movies. Now that I think about it, I can't think of any that I'm like a big fan of. So that's probably a big reason. Nick Rivera says his number one is Serial Mom. I've never seen Serial Mom.
Same.
I just saw my first ever John Waters movie, actually. Speaking of directors I've never dived into, I recently watched Crybaby. So my first John Waters, which I thought was okay. But I could tell, I don't know if John Waters is my guy. So
I mean, he's in not in Child's Play. He's in Chucky.
Seed of
Chucky.
Yeah. He's very much like a queer icon and just an icon of bizarre indie cinema. And I've heard Crybaby is one of his most like normal movies, but he was even like a bit much for me. Like it's really weird. It's really over the top. But my favorite director of all time is John Carpenter. And In the Mouth of Madness is my fourth favorite movie from him. My top three favorite movies from John Carpenter, I think, will always be Halloween, The Thing, The Fog. But right under there, In the Mouth of Madness. I love it for the Stephen King references, but the Stephen King references are fairly light. It's mostly the fact that Sutter Kane is kind of a play on Stephen King, the biggest horror writer of his time. But it's the Lovecraft stuff, man, that gets me. It's a very Lovecraftian film, not based on any specific Lovecraft work, but a lot of the ideas. And it gives me the feeling of Lovecraft more than almost any other movie ever made. I love Sam Neill in it, of course. Like the cast is great, but it's those practical effects, those monsters, just the big otherworldly ideas, the cosmic horror of it. It's almost just hard to describe. Like you said, the score and just the way it looks. Oh my gosh, it's just one of my favorite things ever made. Just love this film. So that's my favorite movie of 1994.
What's the alternative cover art?
Yeah, it's I pulled it off because I thought I had flipped it, but apparently I hadn't. It is just the original poster art, which, by the way, I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking. Yeah,
art, which is why, like, I know when Scream Factory releases it on 4K eventually, that's going to be the slipcover, and I don't really want.
Dude, you got to do what I did, man. You got to keep that and then sell off just the Blu-ray. That's what I do.
That was unhinged. I saw on your stream when you said like you just took the 4K out of a Kino release of something of the apartment and just put it into the Arrow box. Yeah. I could never do that.
Yeah. It's my collection and I want it to display.
I know, but I'm too OCD for that. Like I need to keep releases what they are.
See, I like physical releases, but like I just want the best disc as well. And unfortunately, those aren't the same sometimes.
Yeah. I do want to, let's see, catch up on the chat a little bit. Ben says, I used to talk to Corky Ford. He was Manny in the movie Platoon. He worked at a local convenience store, was part of the Dog Network. How interesting. Wayne says Heavenly Creatures is an excellent movie. Is that Sam Raimi? Is that the Sam Raimi movie? Or maybe it's Peter Jackson?
It's Peter Jackson.
That's right.
Because it's out of print. It's hard to get on Blu-ray.
Okay. I've never seen it. Nick says John Waters is awesome. Colt of J says Female Trouble is a funny John Waters film. And he also says, I don't know that you're a he. I'm just assuming, so I apologize if I'm wrong. I'm glad I got the chance to see Pink Flamingos. I will never watch it again. All right, cool. Clint Booth says Tommy Lee Jones plays the warden. Robert Downey Jr. plays a journalist. That makes a lot more sense to me.
I thought he was a warden. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It wasn't on your list, so you're not claiming to be an expert on that movie. Yeah, I could definitely see Tommy Lee Jones as the warden, much more than 1994 RDJ. Polyester, yeah, that's another John Waters movie. None of these movies I've seen.
I've only seen Multiple Maniacs, and that was quite the experience.
Yeah, isn't that one of his craziest movies?
It was in black and white. It's interesting. Yeah. It was okay.
Aslan says, I miss practical effects. I kind of feel like practical effects are making a comeback. Not in like action. Well, actually, yes, in action movies. In like John Wick movies, Mission Impossible movies. tons of practical stunts. There's a lot of practical effects in horror now, a lot more than there used to be. Like there was a period, late 90s through the 2000s, a lot of CGI in horror, not as much anymore. Like Abigail is packed with practical gore effects and such. Long Legs has got a lot of practical makeup. Maxine's got practical effects too, even though like not very much, because not much really happens in Maxine. But
what about Imaginary Friends?
Oh, I just watched that. Imaginary? No. Well, actually, yes. Because there is actually a giant bear monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they did it. I'm sure some CGI was used, but it kind of looked like a practical effect to me. I was kind of impressed. I was like, this thing actually looks really good. Imaginary is like, it's not a good movie. And it kind of feels like a Lifetime movie or like a Hallmark movie at times. Like it feels like a TV movie. It doesn't really feel like a theatrical film.
Oh,
but it's got a lot of imagination and they're like really trying things. It's trying to be unique and it's got some interesting stuff. So I don't think it's all bad. That movie got crapped on to high hell, but
it had a lot of like advertisement. I remember every time I was at AMC or any movie theater, I see Imaginary posters and the trailers for it.
Yeah, both that and Night Swim. I don't think they're that bad. I think Night Swim is better, but Imaginary, it's like not technically a good movie, but it's, it's like when you watch an 80s horror movie and like it's kind of bad, but it's got a lot of like cool ideas. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Let's see. Brett says I added Hoop Dreams, Ed Wood, In the Mouth of Madness, Speed, and Pulp Fiction to my September watch list. Jeez. If you've never seen those, then wow, you're gonna have a good month. You're gonna have so much fun. Holy cow. Trudy, yes, Color Out of Space is one of my favorite modern horror movies. I love it so much. I showed it 2 years ago during my every year for my birthday. I do a movie marathon and I just have friends over and we watch movies. 2 years ago, I showed Color Out of Space. That was the closing movie. Absolutely love it. I talked about it in my video on my top 10 farmland horror movies. It made the list because it's it's set on a farm. Love that
alpaca farm.
Alpacas. Yeah. Amazing. Zombies Ate My Arm confirmed. Peter Jackson.
Good.
Okay. Must See in the Mouth of Madness and Cemetery Man. Thanks for the good show and good night from Sweden. Thank you so much, Deb. Thank you for dropping in. Yeah. Those are great movies for sure. I really, really like In the Mouth of Madness, but I got to say it's my least favorite of the Apocalypse trilogy. I mean, that's not really, that's not much of an insult because those are great, great movies. So I understand. I would have to say Prince of Darkness is my least favorite, but I still love Prince of Darkness. Like Prince of Darkness is still one of my favorite 80s horror movies. But yeah, I would go The Thing, Madness, Prince of Darkness. But how about you, Chris? What's your ranking?
I'll probably go Prince of Darkness at 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably then The Thing and then In the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, I really like Prince of Darkness. I remember watching it for the first time and texting Daniel being like, I'm actually scared after watching this movie. Like I'm actually like freaked out and scared.
It's Carpenter's scariest movie. I think, which kind of you kind of have to wonder why is your least favorite in the Apocalypse trilogy, but every movie in the Apocalypse trilogy is incredible. So
yeah, I didn't know that was an actual considered like one of those like trilogies. So that's interesting. One movie, I don't know what's going on with me, man. I don't know how The Thing isn't like I'm crazy about The Thing as everyone else is. So I'm concerned. I watched it when Nathan came and I was like, yeah, it's a good time. It's a classic. Obviously I enjoy it, but like, I just never like jump for joy when it comes to The Thing, but like In the Mouth of Madness, I probably would. And Prince of Darkness, I would, but The Thing, I won't. I don't know why. It's weird.
The Thing, it's been a little bit of a slow burn for me. Like, I mean, I've always loved it, but I do love it more. Like every time I see it, I will say,
yeah.
There was a time when like, I love The Thing, but I don't love it as much as like a lot of other 80s horror movies and such. But now I kind of am jump for joy about The Thing now at this point. It does just get better and better for me. But that's a movie I will never show my wife because it's all dudes and she will not like it. She's like, I tried to show her Jaws, did not like it because it's almost all dudes. And The Thing is all dudes, so she would not be into it. Heavenly Creatures, my best in 94. Cool. I guess I got to see that. So that's cool to hear. People are really digging that movie. Started watching and reading Mr. King back in the early 80s, was deeply underwhelmed by the ending of the Dark Tower books. I never read any of the Dark Tower books, but I did see the Dark Tower with Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. And it seems like most people hate that movie, but I saw it in theaters. It was okay. It was fine. It wasn't that good. The scene before the monsters show up in Madness fills me with a sense of dread. Heck yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Moons over my hammy, great sandwich.
I have no idea what that means. Is
Dude,
that like Mad Libs?
That's on Denny's menu. The moons over my hammy sandwich at Denny's.
Everybody loves Denny's. It's an American institution.
This guy, he has good taste.
Support for Color Out of Space. What are some October movies we should watch this year? I can't wait till cooler weather. I'm in Florida with all the humidity on the planet. I mean, I've got several videos I'm already planning for like October recommendations and such. So, you know, I'll have you covered. I will say on Friday, so my wife and I have a tradition where every year we pick a day in July when it's hot and miserable, and we call it Summer Spooky Day. And we spend the day in like Halloween outfits, making Halloween treats and watching spooky movies. And we're doing that on Friday. So I'm really excited. But like a few movies we're watching, like we're going to watch Satan's Little Helper, which I haven't seen in years. That's a Halloween movie. We're going to watch Fun Size because that's one of our favorites. We're going to watch Casper. I'm going to show my son Alvin the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein because that was a classic for me as a kid. And I haven't seen it since I was a kid. So I'm very, very excited to show him that. Yeah, we usually just watch like very like fun, almost like nostalgic Halloween-y movies. So looking forward to that. But yeah, if you want horror movie recommendations, you know, just watch like any video on my channel. So I'm just doing that constantly. I will say I've got a video on my favorite autumnal movies. So that's a good video to watch to get some like you know, fall vibe movies. I've got a video on top 10 underrated Halloween movies that actually take place in the Halloween season. So I will say for this year, Trick or Treat is coming out on 4K. Not Trick or Treat, not the 2000s one. Trick or Treat from 1988, which Cris and I watched together, and or 1986. I think it might be 86. But that's a Halloween movie, heavy metal horror movie that's really fun. It's coming out on 4K from Synapse this year, so I plan to get that. I wonder if that's one where, like, if it's $60,
I was just gonna say
I might actually get it. I might actually get Trick or Treat because, like, I just like technically I have it, but I have it on like a crappy German Blu-ray, I think, and like I really do want the good.
That's how I feel about The Covenant with the slipcover from Synapse on 4K. I want it with the slipcover because it's so cool. But
I think they're about to release a standard edition.
Yeah, but that slipcover is pretty sweet.
It is, but yeah, I haven't bought it yet either. Yeah, I'm just gonna we're doing a random little convent thing. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. So there's the convent on 4K. Yeah, it's $50.
It's pretty though.
Yeah, it is. I gotta kind of be careful about Synapse. They actually sell a lot of inappropriate stuff. I'm trying to find the search. There we go. I want to see if they've got a standard edition coming because I thought they did.
Here's something you should watch in October.
Yeah,
it's not a
movie. It's $30. So well, that's $20 less.
That's
it's still
the
not
Blu-ray.
cheap. Yeah, it's a Blu-ray.
Ew. Just kidding.
Was the movie shot on film though?
Yeah.
Okay, it's because it's like the 2000s, so I wasn't sure.
But here's the thing: you should watch the Garfield Halloween special. If you need
I just watched that with him the other day.
Nice.
With my son.
Yeah, I saw that. I was telling Aslan, like, if you want.
Oh, yes, he absolutely should watch the Garfield Halloween special. Because it's fantastic. I love that movie. Let's see. Tree says, "Go, Cris. Prince of Darkness is actually scary to me too, and I hardly ever am scared." Yeah, it's the only... I love Carpenter. I adore him. He's my favorite director, but I'm usually not scared by his movies, but Prince of Darkness is the one.
Yep.
Thought it was scary.
I hate that weird videotaping and seeing like the devil saying things. Yeah. Something about that aesthetic scares me.
I love a satanic horror film when you could feel evil coming from it. And like Prince of Darkness is one of those. Long Legs is one of those too.
Oh, God.
That is a freaking evil feeling movie, and
Oh,
I loved
man.
it. It's awesome. Wayne says just recently watched the newest entry in the Hell House series, the Carman
Ooh,
Michael Manor.
nice.
You know what's funny? I've seen Hell House LLC, but I like don't remember it at all.
Bruh.
And Umbrella is about to release that big box set, and I kind of want it because
Dude,
those movies haven't been available on physical media yet, have they?
No, they haven't. They're all streamed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. That the second one's not too bad. I didn't see the third one, Lake of Fire. But I heard this one, the Carmichael Manor, was pretty good, and it had the original director from the first movie come back.
I'm going to share my screen again. Right now, like we've gone through a Rad 9. Now we're just hanging out. So, you know, anybody wants to hang out, you are welcome to stick around, and we're just chilling. Yeah, here's the Hell House box set. It does look really, really cool. It's $90. I almost wonder if Umbrella will send it to me for review because I know they send Serial at Midnight stuff. They send mid-level media stuff. I wonder if they'd send it to me. I should send them an email. That would be cool. But it does look awesome, and I would love to just be able to binge through those movies.
Not to toot my own horn, but I did interview the director of the first Hell House.
You did? Podcast. Yeah, check
Great
out
guy.
Chris's podcast called Inside the Sequel. He did interview the director of these movies.
That's another movie where the first one does kind of feel like evil. It's good. I really like Hell House LLC.
I need to rewatch it.
It's a big boozy movie too.
Yeah. Madison Carter says In the Mouth of Madness is my favorite horror movie. Saw in theaters in its first run in an otherwise empty theater, considering the ending quite funny. That is awesome. Huge respect to that. By the way, welcome, Madison. I don't think I'd said hi to you yet.
Empty theater. Wow.
Trudy says, I loved all the House movies too. They're very entertaining. Cool. Oh, Matt Bledsoe says, I will go to bat for the Dark Tower movie. Oh, I will go to bat. Go the Dark Tower movie? Okay, I'm not sure if he's going to bat for it or if he's going to hit it with a bat. But either way, a bat is involved. How interesting. I saw that movie and I was just like, oh, it's fine.
Dark Tower or Jaws, Matt?
Yeah, Matt will go to bat for Dark Tower and not for Jaws. What's going on, man?
Matt, I love Jaws. I have it on 4K. I still haven't watched it.
I love Jaws. I just watched it again this past week. I'll probably watch it again soon as I have it on the brain. Yeah, I said this when I was recently on, I did an interview on Frank's Media and Reviews, great channel. And I said on that channel, I think Jaws is the greatest movie ever made. And I do think so. Oh yeah. The videos I was talking about. Yeah. I hope you enjoy them. Satan's Little Helper and Fun Size are great movies, great recommendations. Yeah, I haven't seen Satan's Little Helper in years, so I really want to rewatch it. Halloween Town will always be peak. My wife will agree with you there. I don't know if I'd quite agree with you. It's fun enough. It's fine. Great idea. Carve a watermelon instead of a pumpkin. I love that pumpkin part.
Bro, there's something about carving pumpkins, though.
Yes, it is.
When you stick your hand in and just squish the seeds and all the inside. I just love that feeling.
Yeah, but you got to wash your hands for too long because otherwise your hands just start feeling weird and tingly.
That's true. And I'm not a big fan of eating the seeds. I want to, just purely off of reusable, practicalness of it. I want to eat them, but I just don't care for them.
Yeah. Aslan says, okay, I will. Garfield is my favorite childhood character. Oh, you got to watch Garfield's Halloween Adventure. It's so good. It's better than the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Yes, easily. No debate.
Yeah.
This was never a thing.
All those great songs too. The one thing I'm not is a scaredy cat. Yeah. So good.
I like when Garfield throws on the little vampire and he kind of shows his fangs.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So good. Oh, Trudy agrees. Long legs felt evil. Ben used to dress up as Garfield's pirate costume. Great.
Blunderbuss and everything. Jeez.
I don't know about that, Golden Jet. I don't know anything about Heathcliff, to be honest. I've never followed Heathcliff.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't, but there probably isn't one because I would have remembered if there was. Heathcliff, I kind of low-key like. He's the cheaper, probably earlier version of Garfield or the cooler version, supposedly cooler because he's like a street cat. I like Heathcliff as well, though.
Cool.
It's funny.
I think Lucas is asking for more episodes of Inside the Sequel.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, let me get on that. I just need to find some guests with some spare time and some more sequels to watch.
Oh, Lucas said I really enjoyed your guys' collab for the Star Wars movies. Yeah,
I did
thank
too.
you.
Yeah, I did
Did
too.
we end up covering all the Star Wars movies, or did we just do the sequel trilogy and prequel trilogy?
I think we did that because it's like the original trilogy. We could always run that back and just say we did all the Star Wars movies, but
Yeah,
I
that's
kind of
funny.
thought
The only trilogy we haven't talked about is the original trilogy. But with that one, it's like, what do you say? They're perfect.
exactly. And I felt like we put the franchise to bed. I felt good. I felt like the universe is a better place after those episodes came out.
I agree. We discussed the Star Wars movies that needed to be discussed, but like,
Seriously.
you know, the originals, they're perfect. So what are you gonna do? We
Yeah.
also ranked them too.
We did. Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. The show Tales from the Dark Side. I have not seen it, but I want to start watching that show because I love the movie Tales from the Dark Side, but I never actually watched the show.
Yeah, that movie is great. Upgraded that 4K. Actually, off of the recommendation from Christian at Planet CHH.
Right on. Matt says Josh doesn't need me to go to bat for it. But would you if it needed it? That's what I need to know. Dark Tower needs defenders. I think I just like Dark Tower because basically the Last Action Hero riff. Okay, but it is not near as good as Last Action Hero riff as Sidekicks. I mean, come on. Plus, Sidekicks came first. So I guess Last Action Hero is just a Sidekicks riff, really. I mean, come on. Come on, Matt. You know it's true. Check out the movie series, The House That October Built. Yeah, I want to watch that. Actually, that's on my list for this Halloween season. I do want to watch those. See you, Ben. Thank you so much for dropping in. We're probably going to be wrapping up here before too long. Thank you, Trudy. So glad you had a good night.
Yeah.
I love the show and bought the 4K for the movie based on nostalgia I have for the show.
Hell yeah.
Right on. Yeah. I love that movie.
That gargoyle segment still gets me. Sometimes I randomly think about that. And like when I'm challenged with tough decisions, I call back to that segment. It's good.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying doing a lot of anthology reviews lately. And like I said, I'm editing a review right now for Creep Show. So I'll definitely do Tales from the Dark Side before too long because that's one of my favorite anthologies. Tales from the Dark Side is terrific and have a few Halloween episodes. Ooh, I need to watch that. All right, Chris, what do you think? You want to go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. I will also say my other movie that could have been my number 9 if I had it on physical media is Fist of Legend, which is a Jet Li action movie, martial arts movie that's fantastic. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I don't have it on physical. Yeah, Bloodlust, Subspecies 3 could have been 9. Night of the Demons 2 is up there too. Chris,
I didn't see.
Oh, you should see, especially if you like The Convent, you should definitely see Night of the Demons 2.
Gotcha.
It might be better than the first Night of the Demons.
I was going to say, I wasn't crazy about the first Night of the Demons. So that's why I was like, do I need to see the sequel then? But I guess I have a podcast that's about sequels, so I probably should.
Yeah. I love the original Night of the Demons, but I recognize it's very rough around the edges. But I kind of think the sequel is more of like a legitimately good movie, you know?
Wow.
It definitely has better acting for sure. And it's got some really fun practical effect gags. Really, really cool.
Okay.
And then I will just acknowledge True Lies because Seth said it. I haven't seen True Lies since I was a kid. I admit it. I planned to rewatch it when the 4K came out, and then I heard the 4K looked bad, and I realized it's like 2.5 hours, which I didn't realize. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get around to that for a while. So I never bought the 4K, and I haven't rewatched True Lies.
Yeah, unfortunate with those new Cameron 4Ks. It feels like there was so much hype, and they just didn't deliver at all.
Yeah.
So mine real quick, if you don't mind, if I speed through,
absolutely,
there's only a couple. So It Could Happen to You with Nick Cage.
I forgot to mention it, but that was a possibility for me too. I really like that movie.
Yeah,
but again, I don't have it.
That one's like a good rom-com in the 90s, which is always a good thing. The other one was Stargate with James Spader and Kurt Russell. Roland
I've never
Emmerich.
seen it.
See, I saw it a couple times when I was a kid growing up, and I really liked it. I have the Blu-ray I just picked up, but I didn't get enough time to rewatch it before this. But I do remember really liking it, where they go into a portal to ancient Egypt, and it's really cool. Yeah. I really like that. So I thought about if I watched it, I'd put that in. And then last one, I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's called Nell. It has Jodie Foster and Liam Neeson. So Jodie Foster is like this girl who lives in a cabin by herself away from civilization, and she can't really read or speak well. And Liam Neeson's like I think he's a doctor, and discovers her and like is protective over her and like tries to help her adapt to society, and society like kind of calls her the crazy woman. Pretty good. I remember watching it when I was a teen and enjoyed it, and I was surprised it came out in 1994. So yeah, I don't see anybody talk about Nell. It's kind of sad, but I do really enjoy the leads.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate you. Thank you, Colter J. Happy Jullyween. Summerween is what it's called. Happy Summerween. Elric is mad. Kristen mentioned Bio Broly.
I saw, but I haven't seen Bio Broly actually.
That's Dragon Ball Z, right?
It is. I never saw the 90s Broly's movies, at least not to memory.
Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you, Lucas. Have a good night. Thank you, just another horror fan. First watch, so it's like your first time watching the channel. Okay, well, very cool. Thank you so much. And thank y'all. I will see you next time. Bye.